Thanks for the patience, everyone.
Welcome to the stream. Had to get a couple of little details worked out before we came out to you folks. But without further ado, let's do this. The 360th episode. This week's episode of Here's What I Don't Get is this take two. This week's episode of Here's What I Don't Get is brought to you in part by No Scopes. No Scopes is the only true way to be a hero of Call of Duty. The people that use scopes are all losers, and here's what I don't get. We don't use them. That's why this episode is episode 360, No Scope. And welcome back to Here's What I Don't Get. From north to south, east to west, the only intercontinental podcast to tackle all of life's toughest issues and the longest consecutively run podcast on the See You Next Tuesday podcast network. I am your host, Tab Burton. With me today, very special guest, all the way back from the original episode 1. Amazing. The one and only Mr. Velvet, the Mac Daddy himself, Larry Bleidner.
Thank you, Tab. It's very nice to be here.
Welcome back.
Thank you also, Joel Chaco. This is amazing.
Also joining
us. Congratulations to all of us for making over 7 years in these adventures of ours. It's very cool.
Crazy.
Also joining us this week, all the way from down south in Paraguay, the fish man himself, El Chaco.
Wait a minute, the fish man.
Hola, mi enchilada. Good to see you guys.
The fish man. That's a new one.
He usually
it's a running thing. I'm a fish farmer now, so I've got I've got 5 ponds stocked with tilapia that we grow out down here. So occasionally I give the audience some fish news to bring them up to speed on all the fish coming and going.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, this is really cool to have Larry back for this. And actually, Larry was not only the first guest on Here's What I Don't Get, but I carried that tradition over into my next podcast when I did Hot Choco. And so for, those episodes are really hard to find, but I thought that show led off really well when I had Larry on as a guest that time around too. So, it's always a pleasure to work with you, man.
Well, I was very honored in both instances. And here, again, the karmic wheel, full circle, 360, episode 360. It's kismet, baby. I love it. Very cool. Thank you. It's nice to be here.
The 7-year cycle starting again.
Yeah. And somebody could do a documentary. If you think of this, in some ways, a lot of this is spokes of the Dick Show wheel, I guess. And my God, when you consider the sturm and drang that has surrounded that show, it's mind blowing. I think
the show that launched 1,000 spinoffs.
1,000 spinoffs and some suicides and some meltdowns, and holy shit, it's pretty weird, really.
A little bit of drama here and there. That's for
sure. Yeah.
For people that don't know, that Larry show is still going. You're at like episode 470 something.
474. I just posted.
474. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Almost coming up on 500 episodes. That's crazy, and that's also been within that 7-year time period.
Yes. So fun ride.
What else is going on? El Chaco, what have you had going on this week?
Well, I had that court hearing that I talked about the last episode, and when we went there with my lawyers, I was expecting like the judge to ask me questions in Spanish and have to come up with a bunch of answers on stuff on the spot. But when we got there, my lawyer handled everything. The witness handled everything. And I never even got questioned. I just had to kind of sign off on a form. And it was much ado about nothing, although the judge still hasn't ruled on it yet, although I was given the indication that it was just the whole thing was going to get thrown out. Larry, just so you know, I'm going through a land dispute down here. And I got some illegal squatter occupants on my land. I'm trying to get rid of them. And one of their desperate attempts to prolong the process was to make a false accusation that I threatened a woman with my shotgun, which didn't happen, but it's kept things interesting. And And I was just telling Tab before the show started that for the land dispute thing, I met with another lawyer today, and I'm starting to think I might, call an audible, put in a pinch hitter, late minute substitution for new lawyers for my case, because I don't feel like it's getting handled correctly. I feel like I'm stopping a lot of the holes myself and finding a lot of the problems myself.
That's not good.
But I just learned that in Paraguay, you can't just terminate your lawyer. You can't, they can then countersue you for, fees that they dream up and make up. So we're thinking about it, and we're like, okay, well, what we might just do is take the lawyer that I was going to replace them with and then hire him and then make him their supervisor over the whole thing until this thing is over. So we'll just see how it works out.
Sorry for my distraction there. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. Well, Tab, you also saw I sent you some footage from today from my neighbors being awesome. Burning trash, burning not just any trash, like burning like plastic and rubber and toilet paper and the whole 9 yards. Yeah, baby diapers. So I've got the fire chief coming tomorrow to come and deal with them face to face. So yeah, it's never a dull moment at Taco Ranch here.
I love my employer telling me that I need to like take the bus to work and like ride my bike more and all this stupid shit. And I just want to be like, this is my neighbor. This is my friend down in Paraguay. His neighbors are literally burning trash. What the fuck do you think me riding the bus to work in St. Louis is going to make a lick of difference about?
It's not going to work.
Don't you want to save the planet? What's wrong with you?
I really don't. I don't either. I am 100% rooting for an ICBM. Like, totally. We're talking about World War III starting up, and I'm just like, let's do it, man. Let's just nuke us all.
I'm with you.
I remember one of my favorite early episodes of that Larry show was what was it? What's the word? It was the word for the end of the world. It was like the Quetzalcoatl. No, it wasn't that. It was something else. Kali Yuga.
The end of the world as we know it. I think that was probably. Or there's also shit hits the fan, shit foo or whatever. Yeah.
It's basically, my wife and I all the time we're like, okay, well, we can't go back to Canada because Canada sucks, the United States won't accept me. So
is that a fact? Is that true?
We're down here in Paraguay. Yeah, I can't. I tried looking into moving to the States. I actually almost moved to Oklahoma, but when we looked into it, because I'm self-employed, can't get in. They won't take me. I can come and visit for like 6 months a year, but
I had friends in LA like that. They were from Australia, and this dude, he made a lot of dough. He was very well set. They lived in LA for a while. His company sent him to LA to like establish a beachhead there or whatever. And he did very well. And then he said, yeah, I think I'd like to stay. And of course the State Department said, wait a minute, you're making mid six figures. You have no criminal background. You'd be an asset to this country. Get the fuck out.
That's pretty much it. Like, I wouldn't even be taking an American's job. I've got my clients in Canada that I write for, and they, I wouldn't be taking anybody's job. I'd be a net benefit to the economy,
of course,
and to the culture as well.
And you are living cultural enrichment, Chaco.
Exactly. I still remember when I was crossing the border. I was going down to go work a show in Portland for my friend Sully's company, DOA in Portland. And they stopped me at the border, and they saw that I had camera equipment with me. And they were like, what are you doing with the camera equipment? I'm like, I'm going to a wrestling show. I'm going to take pictures of the wrestling show. Are you getting paid to do that? And I'm like, I'm not getting paid to do that. And then I found out from a lot of the wrestlers that come down from Canada that they will actually send all their gear down ahead of time with the American wrestlers when they come up to Canada. There's no problem for Americans coming up to Canada to wrestle, but to go down to the US, it's a huge rigmarole every time. And, a border patrol guy seeing like four muscular dudes sitting in like a beat up old Chevy or something like that, they usually get pretty suspicious. But that's pretty much the case all the time. It says here, I saw that. Yeah, Chaco, since you live in South America, just walk across the border like everyone else. Yeah, I haven't seen the caravan come through Paraguay yet. We'll see. We'll see when that comes up.
You just got to start your own.
That's it.
Yeah. I just gotta.
Yes, I'm one of you folks. You fine folks. I am also from Paraguay. We're all gonna band together and walk to America to find freedom.
I just gotta find that HI. It's funny though, because I get all the time the Paraguayans. They ask me about Canada. All they know about Canada is that it's cold, and they know, occasionally they'll have a friend who went up to Canada to work, got some work visa, came up to Canada. And they usually come back early, and I go, "Is it because the cold?" And they're like, "No, it's because it's fucking expensive. They don't pay enough." And I'm like, "I know, man. You guys keep going to Toronto like morons, but the whole country's getting ridiculous and out of it's out of range for most people. Like the cost of living in Canada. Do you ever see like on 4chan tab where like people like come in with a Canadian flag on the thing, and then like instantly everybody on 4chan demands that they want to see pictures of the grocery prices at the grocery stores. Really? I like do that now. I'm like, well, what are you guys paying for chicken now? It's like, holy crap, $20 for a chicken breast? That's insane. So, yeah, but Larry, you're still in California?
No, I'm not. I fled California just about a year ago, and I am now living in the nutmeg state of Connecticut, which still has way too many commies for my taste. But it's kind of where I'm hanging my hat for now. It's okay.
There's no Hartford.
I'm probably about an hour from Hartford. I'm down on the shore, and it's nice.
Go Whalers.
The people on the shore are a lot less communistic than the ones inland. So I fish a lot.
That's weird.
It's nice. It is weird.
That's weird. I would have thought the opposite. Usually the coastal people are the ones
you would
that
think.
have much salt in their lungs.
The inland people are all commuting to New York for work.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
Correct. There it is.
You got that right. Yeah. So I've been here just a little over a year, and LA had become pretty much unlivable. You couldn't sleep through the night with the police choppers overhead at 3 a.m. with the midnight sun and the speakers. You're surrounded. It was attack dogs in everybody's yards, razor wires. It was a shit show. It's whatever you hear about.
I don't know how you raised a family.
It's worse than what you hear. Well, it was okay. My kids are pretty well grown now. My older girl's going to be 25. The other one's about 19. And so for the bulk of their childhood, it was a nice place. But once the fucking Dems achieved hegemony there about, 8-10 years ago, it just spiraled into the sewer very quickly. So
did I read correctly? Like it used to be a red state prior to
absolutely.
Reagan, right?
Shit, like where Reagan was from. Yeah, big time.
Yeah. But then he offered amnesty, and that just made it blue forever, right? Or something like that.
I don't. Is that what happened? I don't know. Maybe. Could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't
for
perfect,
a Republican
or
a conservative. He brought in no fault divorce, and he brought in amnesty, and that kind of tilted the board a bit afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
I know too much about American politics for a non-American. It's it's not good for the soul.
Well, you know what? That's pretty much true. I just got back. I was in Eastern Europe for a couple of weeks, which is why I'm now deaf in one ear. And the people, I was in like Bulgaria, Romania, Croatia, Serbia, Hungary, and the people over there know a fuck ton more about what's going on in America than Americans do. I mean, just
we've all seen those clips of like Jay Leno or some other person going out and interviewing Americans and like asking them like simple questions. And it always blows our mind. We're like, how do you not know that? And the other one that always got me was like when they don't know where Canada is. It's like, you got 2 countries that you border, just 2. You only have to know 2.
That's too many, Joel. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
apparently.
in our defense, who cares? Where's Canada? Nah, don't give a shit. It's not America.
You're right. It's not. Yeah, and then you've got Justin Castro up there. I don't give a shit about him. Yeah.
I just saw that Trump mentioned that on an interview with Hayden Ross. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he even mentioned the Justin Castro thing.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I saw this guy and he gave Trump, which is really interesting. Here's this guy. He's like, what? He's like an influencer millionaire, right? 24 years old. And he gives Trump a Cybertruck and a Rolex, which is really interesting. The millionaire giving gifts to the billionaire. But who the fuck is this guy? I mean, I'm just a dumb boomer. Tighten me up on who the fuck Aiden Ross is.
I only heard about him recently. I had to do some. I have one of my clients was like a company that hosts like e-gaming, like competitive video games in like stadiums and stuff. And I had to talk about how this Aiden Ross character is big in that scene. So apparently he's a big competitive online live streamer gamer. And apparently we're supposed to think that he matters, but he's quite wealthy. I don't, no knock against him for that. But at the same time, like my kids know about all types of different places, different personalities online. And I only can keep up with them through that. But thankfully, Aiden Ross has not crossed the threshold of the Chaco household yet onto our television screen. The other one was like, because I had to write about Aiden Ross and I had to write about Bronny James, LeBron James's son. And that was before he stepped foot on an NBA court. And the whole thing made me feel so old because these are just not influencers for me. For the wrestling stuff, I gotta shoot all my promos in vertical because TikTok is working better than YouTube for promoting shows. And so like I had to do a whole bunch of stuff on my computer just to figure out how to take a video that I have made, edit it, and then when I spit out the output to not have it be in vertical again with black bars on the side. And it's just been I'm starting to show my age. I turned 45 later this year, so it's gonna be it's downhill from here when it comes to being with it on who these personalities are. But at least we're here, and we got the vibe going. I'm digging the. I like the idea. Like Tab was the one who brought up the idea about doing a full 360, bringing Larry back. It's a pleasure to have you back, and and you had a kind of an idea on how the format was going to go today, right, Tab?
Yeah. So I've got this list from our original episode that we just kind of revisit these real quick. Not like super quick, but discuss some of these old ones and see if so it's been 7, almost 8 years since the show debuted. Have any of these issues that were, these were the biggest issues for episode 1 of the show. Have they
what was the date for that show? That was in 2016, right?
It was November of 2016, late November of 2016. I don't have it off the top of my head, but so
eons ago.
It was. I've like Larry was saying, like there's that whole myth of you lose like your whole body regenerates all of its cells within 7 years. So in a very real way, we're all totally different people than we were back then. I wasn't even on the show. But so here's what we don't get. So just diving right into the top of this list, designer throw pillows, and there was an attempt to start the hashtag pillow stabbing. Now, I have to admit, even as a fan of this show, in the last 8 years, I have unfortunately never stabbed a designer throw pillow to death.
Okay.
Well, if the rumors about JD Vance are true, about couches. But no, it's funny about the throw pillows. Designer ones, if you're going out of your way to get designer ones, then you got a problem. But I don't have a problem with throw pillows themselves, especially given like my back is always bad now, and so the couch only comes up to here on my head, and so I got to always throw not a designer throw pillow, just whatever's there. If it's a rolled up blanket or something. So I'm starting to see the benefit of throw pillows that maybe they won't get stabbed in my household. That's our setup. I'd love to hear what Buck says about them today.
I would like to hear as well.
If he still hates them.
I definitely still hate them. Like my sofa upstairs came with not designer throw pillows, but came with throw pillows. I don't really use them for anything. But someone brought this throw pillow into, so we have a little staff lounge at my theater. There's like a sofa and a couple of like handful of comfortable chairs and stuff. And so you can like go hang out in there before your shift, after your shift. We're eating lunch. It's just kind of like a quiet, dark room. It's a little cool. It's nice to be in there. And there's only one throw pillow in the room, and someone brought it. I don't know where it even came from. But have you seen this like new fad of shit where it's sequined, and when you brush the sequins one way, it's an image of one thing, and then you brush them the other way, and it's a sequence of another?
Those suck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pillow that you're supposed to use, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll be feeling really comfortable and nice against my face if I want to take a nap on this sofa. A bunch of fucking sequins pressed in against it, and then you have this like scaly lizard face. And I'm just like, I'm trying to take a nap at work here, and I'm really trying to keep it on the DL. So if we could have a pillow that's just soft instead of looking fucking stupid and not having some stupid fucking saying that everyone has to look at.
You're looking like Joe Biden with the CPAP straps.
Yeah. Like the pillows on my sofa came with the sofa. So on one side, they're gray that matches the sofa. And on the other side, it's like a list of T's. It's like a light color thing with a list of T's. And I'm like, why can't this just be gray on both sides so that it just fucking matches the sofa? Or, I don't know, white or black or something that maybe you want it to contrast. But it really have to have fucking words on this thing?
If they're words, how about the names of serial killers? The All-Stars or... I don't know, bourbons or something, but teas. Oh, please.
Yeah.
That's too precious. Can't take that.
So weird.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you.
My daughter
I still hate
like that.
Yeah. I still hate throw pillows. Yeah. And
Yeah.
when we moved a year ago, we got, a lot of new furniture in this house. My wife bought this. Generally, if there's a measurement involved, I do it. I'm good at that. I'm not good at a lot, but I'm good at, figuring if the refrigerator will fit in the hole in the kitchen, that kind of shit. And so my wife ordered this couch from somewhere, and I'm about 6 feet tall, but this fucking couch is so out of proportion that when I sit on it, my knees don't bend; they stick straight out like I'm a fucking Raggedy Ann doll.
Oh, because it's too deep.
Really? And I'm like, well, this isn't comfortable. And she's like, well, I'll get you throw pillows. And I'm like, so I didn't even say anything. So these throw pillows showed up, and they help a little, but not a lot. And then a couple months ago, we had an argument, and I, when I sort of get in a combat mode with her, I tend to just sort of recede into myself. And I was sitting on this couch with my feet sticking out like the Raggedy Ann doll, and these throw pillows had tassels surrounding them. And so as I sat there, I didn't stab it, but I ripped off every fucking tassel. So now they're tassel-free throw pillows. And she hasn't noticed the missing tassels yet. I'm waiting for that. So that's my
did
story.
You put the tassels somewhere? Or are they like the tassels like tucked in a drawer like a horse
No, I threw them in
head?
the garbage. I threw them away.
Okay.
I was in a fury.
Just making sure.
You didn't
Yeah, I was
dispose of the evidence.
I was staying somewhere a couple months ago, and someone had one of those beds that was just like covered in extra pillows that I then had to pull off the bed and stack up like a fucking Jenga tower over there next to the bed. Because the thing is, when I travel, 90% of the time when I travel, I bring my own pillow because it's like a weird comfort thing where I sleep better with my personal pillow. So I just like
that's not a weird comfort thing. That's a normal person thing, man.
Yes. I have one of those vacuum seal bags, space bags that I suck it down to like this little piece of jerky and just throw it in my bag with all my other stuff. And then I get where I'm going and it fluffs back up and I sleep with it.
Cool.
So not only do I not need like your provided shitty pillows that I know what happened. You bought new pillows for your bed in your room and you were like, well, I got these old shitty pillows. I don't want to get rid of them. I'll put them in the guest bed.
Yeah.
I don't want to use your shitty guest bed pillows. I want to use my provided pillows. So I already have to stack those, but now I have to stack like 13 fucking pillows that are on here just so that when someone, on the off chance someone comes over to your house and walks through, they're like, wow, that bed looks like it has a lot of shit on it for no reason.
There was a meme recently about like, pillow manufacturers. And it's like they all got together and they wanted to conform a design. That a pillow, like that one pillow was too flat and not enough, but two pillows would be way too high for your neck.
Mm-hmm.
Finding the right one is hard. And I got to be honest with you, like, I mean, the guy's a bit of a goofball sometimes, but like, that My Pillow guy, he makes a good pillow. It's not bad. I don't mind it, although it's not bad. Yeah, that was my primary pillow for a while. I got to get a new one. I got a different one that's a little bit better for this climate down here. But the My Pillow guy one, because I'm a guy who needs I'm a side sleeper, so I always like to have I need an armpit pillow, something that can keep my arm from touching my body, so I don't get too hot as the night goes on. And I set that up, and it's a whole rigmarole. You mentioned about Biden and the CPAP. I'm unfortunately a CPAP user now too, and my mouth opens in the middle of the night, so it gets like real dry in there. So I tried mouth tape, and it doesn't always work. Like, it doesn't always stay stuck, or if I have to cough or something, it's a problem. So now I've got this whole system where I've got one pillow underneath my underneath my head, and I take the other one and my pillow, and that goes under my shoulder, but I have to wedge it under my jaw just to keep the mouth closed during the whole sleep rigmarole. Yeah, it's
so you need like a Stephen Hawking pillow or something. This is complex.
Yeah, something like that. It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, the pillow.
Do we want to move to the next of the previous ones, or?
Well, the pillow thing is a conundrum. It really is. What do you sleep on, Tab? Just curious. Not one of those vases behind you, I trust, but
I also have a My Pillow. I have like the thickest one and the second thickest one, and I roll back and forth across my bed, depend in the middle of the night. So because I'm mostly a side sleeper, but sometimes I'm a back sleeper. The only way I don't sleep is on my stomach. So I'll like start on my left side, and then I'll roll to my back, and then I'll roll to my right side, and then I like just migrate back and forth all night. And when I don't wake up screaming, perfectly normal.
My Pillow's the way to go, though. And we're not sponsored by them, but
not yet.
Should be.
What I like about them, not yet. We're still waiting. But the one thing that I liked about even ordering off their website is they get you to measure the length of your shoulder, so that like you can, and it'll recommend you the size of pillow you should get based on that. Based on how you sleep. So it's like, why haven't we been doing this all along? It doesn't make any sense.
Anyway. So the
I still hate birthday weeks.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
anytime you're doing anything for more than anything that's a day that you turn into more than a day, big problem.
Yeah.
Big issue.
Right.
Sorry. I really I'm the type of person, I hate my birthday, but when I celebrate it on the day. It's not like, it's the Friday before my birthday, we're going to go out for my birthday, or it's the Friday after my birthday, we're going to go out for my birthday. It's like, my birthday's on a Wednesday this year. Come over, I'm grilling steak. If you can't make it over, fuck you. I don't need a whole week.
Yeah.
No, man, Tuesday's Tuesday. And if Tuesday is Tab's birthday, then Tuesday is Tab's birthday. Go for it.
You get the day.
And I was bringing up before, what's that? You get one
day. Yeah.
One day. Yeah.
I was bringing up to Tab before, like how I've evolved on that is I've gone beyond, like I'm with Tab. I'm not a big fan of my own birthday. Because it always seems to be one of these things where, if I put any kind of like anticipation into it or anything like that, I'm always let down. So I've had some fun birthdays. I mean, like my last birthday before I left Canada, my friends and I went out shooting, and we didn't threaten any Paraguayan women while we were shooting, but we went out shooting. It was a lot of fun. And then, but the one thing that I do not like at all now, beyond birthday weeks, are pet birthdays. And I mean, like when somebody's given like a big deal for their pet birthday, like, a social media post, Tab, no problem. Not a big deal. Not a problem. Yeah. But it's like when you've gone out of your way, it's like, that's his toy that he got on his gotcha day, or something like that. It's like, nah, man, I don't, they don't know. You don't know. Give them food, give them ear scratches, and everything's good. Right. So
I like to ignore
I still feel the same way about birthdays.
Yeah, I like to ignore my birthdays as well. I don't like something made out of it. And the more you get, the more you want to ignore them. At least that's been my experience. In fact, I remember a guy. You guys might not recall this guy. He was a pretty big time comic when I was a kid, and his name was Buddy Hackett. And,
of course.
Heard the name,
yeah. Okay. Buddy was like a constant guest on the Johnny Carson show. And so he was on one night and Johnny goes, oh, hey, it's your birthday. It's your birthday, buddy. How do you feel about that? Happy birthday. And he goes, now you're like, you're what? You're 52, you're middle-aged. And Buddy just takes his long beat and goes, yeah. How many guys 104. That's kind of it,
I have this rule. I would like, I feel like once you hit adulthood, okay, after your 21st birthday, because in the US, 21 is like you can go drink, right? In most states. So I'm fine with that. 21, go have at her, do your thing. After that, when you're an adult, every decade, that's it.
Yeah,
you can celebrate your 30th, celebrate your 40th, celebrate your 50th. That's fine.
Yeah,
my 40th, that was when we went shooting, and it was it was fun. But my 41st, I didn't give a crap. It was COVID, lockdown, didn't care, didn't want to do anything for it. It's just like, it's like, okay, if my kids are like wishing me a happy birthday during the day, that's fine. That's cool. But I don't want to like invite people over. I'm not doing any of that.
I made that mistake this year.
Here we have a thing though.
I invited a bunch of people over for grilling and whatnot. And I woke up that morning and I was just like, I really don't want to fucking do this. Then I got a text message about how I was lazy and setting a bad example. And I was just like, yeah, I'm really not appreciating this day. But then I still had to have all these people over and like pretend like I wanted them there when really, and I had 12 steaks prepped at that point. And I was like, I really just want to tell these people to fucking go away and leave me alone, which is the way that I would prefer to spend my birthday. And the way that I spent not this past one, but the one before that, like I didn't basically see a fucking soul. It was great.
There you go.
And so next year I'm going back to the spending the day. I'm taking the day off work and spending it by myself.
Isolation. There you go. And then the whole fucking gifting conundrum. That's really wrong too.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that nobody over the age of 12 should get a birthday or a Christmas gift.
I do agree with Maddox on the
Larry's coming in hot. I like this.
Yeah. Where, sometimes you'll be at the store, or you'll be shopping online, or you just be out somewhere and you see a thing that reminds you of a friend, and you'd be like, El Chaco would really like this thing. I'm just gonna get it for him. And then you kind of give it to him, and you don't wrap it. You're just like, hey, I saw that I was out at this thing, saw this, I thought of you and thought you'd like it.
Yeah, you can't wrap a legal eviction of squatters. You can't wrap that, unfortunately.
And I wish we could all just agree that, like, when that happens, that's your birthday or your Christmas gift for the next 5 years. It's just like, here you go. I didn't go out and buy this for this special occasion because I needed to. I bought it because I wanted to, and I appreciate you as a friend. And then we could all not be disappointed when you don't get anything for your birthday.
That's the right perspective, Tab.
Yeah,
I admire that.
The one thing we've done to make birthdays better here, because it's a little hard. Like my kids, right? We homeschool, and we don't. They don't know the language yet. We've been here 3 years. They refuse to learn Spanish. So it's not like we have a lot of like plethora of other kids to play with. We got ones from our church, and we've got ones that we know that do speak English, but not a lot. But one thing that we have done to make birthdays kind of special around the Chaco compound is buying an extraordinary amount of fireworks and lighting them off on the person's birthday. Like I like that. That's a cool thing. Like we'll have a nice dinner, then we go outside and we're gonna blow up the sky. Because I can't do that in Canada. In Canada, it's very difficult to get your hands on fireworks, whereas here I can get them at the grocery store. So
and is this like
they're always there?
The good stuff, like when I was a kid in New York, I would always they've always been illegal. They were illegal there, but I used to get my mitts on, semi-military grade shit. It's like you could blow up a small home with these things. But over the years, it's gotten much harder to get these things, and I don't have the connections I used to have. But so what do they have in Paraguay? It's like really good ordnance, or just display stuff, or what?
We got some good ones, man. I've found my brand, and basically it's like a cylinder of tubes, and you can buy them based on the season for what colors you want. And these are pretty damn good. Like my mom was down here, and we did a fireworks thing for her when she was down here. And yeah, they're pretty impressive. I mean, there's some crap ones, of course. And actually, whenever we hear any kind of loud bangs in the barrio, generally it's my my other neighbors who didn't flip for the good ones. They always get just the crappy one bang, couple of flashes in the sky, and that's about it. But ours, we get the full blown red sparkle, extra, explosion, and then explosions upon the explosions. Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
I love it.
It's we haven't been doing them as much lately because we don't want my neighbor to think that I'm threatening her with my fireworks,
your shotgun,
with my fireworks. But
so the trick,
she might claim it's a shotgun again.
The trick with fireworks now, because they're like all underpowered, is you just have to like improvised IED them together. I'm holding up this is 2 5-inch mortar shells that's being fucked up by my green screen. But for 4th of July, we always blow up a microwave. So this was the first one. We only did 2. I didn't take a picture of the second one. The second one I tied 3 together into one explosive. So you throw more at it, and you get up to those military grade things that you guys used to have.
There you go.
Youth.
Nice.
I like the improvisation, the resourcefulness of your celebrations up there.
Yeah.
So 12-Story Falls, you mentioned that was a news story.
Yeah, that was Larry's
in the
issue. On episode 1, there was a story about a guy who fell 12 stories and survived.
Yeah. And
I figured that's got to be a one-off, right? Like, but I did some looking. This one's from 1989. 1989, a worker survives a 12-story fall. He was installing lights in a medical building and fell 12 stories as plunge was broken by an atrium's glass ceiling and by a man sitting near a second-story railing. The 24-year-old
it's like something out of a movie,
because it was later described as being in very critical condition. He had various fractures and internal injuries, and the man he fell on was knocked unconscious but not seriously injured.
Wow.
This one sounds
like something out of like a movie about a museum heist or something.
It does. Yes.
This one's from 2013. An 8-year-old boy was taken to a hospital trauma center in serious condition after he fell down the garbage chute of a Honolulu high-rise. He went through the trash chute and fell 12 stories into garbage. There's one here. This one's also a man. What year was this? 2007. 23-year-old Brett Creeley broke his leg and received a back injury after falling from a balcony. They said that he fell through a color-bond roof when he tried jumping from the balcony into the resort pool. That's not really a 12-story fall as much as a 12-story jump. Now that I'm actually reading this,
it's a botch.
Yeah. There and then also in this. So Still Knox is the name of the this drug he was taking, and he said it says there are at least 3 unconfirmed cases of Still Knox users falling off of balconies.
Oh God.
Goodness.
This one is from 2021. A Vietnamese toddler survived a terrifying fall from a high-rise balcony. It was caught on video. The little girl was seen clinging to the balcony on the 12th floor, and she ended up falling, but she survived. Someone caught her before she hit the street.
Wow.
Which is wild.
Wow.
That's wild.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And then finally, this one is about a cat, a Minneapolis cat. He fell 12 stories. Rue, a 1-year-old tabby, somehow survived falling from a balcony to the pavement below. The cat broke 2 legs and a foot on both sides of her jaw, a foot and both sides of her jaw. A human dentist is helping her out with a procedure to bond her upper and lower canine teeth, which will hold her jaw in place, allowing it to heal. Yeah, so I mean, cats are doing it, kids are doing it, adult men are doing it.
But not the founder of Fandango.
You would think that like we would have better safety procedures for keeping people from falling off of buildings.
You would think. I remember one when I was a kid in New York. It was one of those, like, I don't know how to categorize it. A guy was working, high steel on a construction site in Manhattan, and he fell off. I don't know if it was 12 stories, but it was a good height. And he was headed right for this enormous mound of sand, which I guess they were going to, mix into concrete or whatever. And he would have survived, except some chooch had embedded a pry bar in this mound of sand.
Oh,
yes, and he
that's
was
a
impaled
terrible
on
way
it.
to go.
Yeah. So there you go.
Oh.
Like almost lucky, but not quite.
Yeah.
We were watching a video the other day about stuntmen and what they've had to do over the years. And I'm actually quite a big fan of some of the old silent film comedies.
Oh, yeah.
And there's one epic one. Everybody's seen it. It's where the guy's like hanging off of a clock tower,
Harold
and
Lloyd.
it's Harry Lloyd. Yeah,
Harold Lloyd. Yeah.
but I didn't know that he had literally no harness, no nothing. There was not even a net underneath him when he did this stunt. Like he didn't. He was working like a Paraguayan high-rise construction worker with no safety. Like it was incredible. And like, you know, you think about what people give to their craft, right? Like, because like in wrestling, you know, ECW was the Extreme Championship Wrestling. It was big in the late 90s. I don't even know if it made it to the early 2000s, but like they would have like these scaffold matches where guys would fight up onto the scaffolds and then throw them into the ring.
Oh, God.
And they would go through a bunch of stacked tables in the ring, just all spectacle. But there's this one clip, I hate seeing it, where a guy gets tossed off of the thing and he overshoots the tables that were supposed to break his fall, and he ends up like boinging off of the ropes and flying out. But like he somehow like survived it, but like did not look good. Like because he hit it and then the ropes basically spun him around.
Sure.
And he did not. Let's just say he didn't land safely. And I don't find that kind of crap entertaining anyway.
No.
Like it's not. I was watching a thing earlier today, and it was like, wrestling isn't wrestling. Nobody gives a crap about the actual wrestling match. That's like 20% of the entertainment value. The rest of it is all about the story and the characters.
Sure.
And you know, so when anybody ever says I'm gonna, you know, oh, we're gonna watch more extreme stuff, extreme wrestling, it's like, yeah, you have fun with that. It's like watching a snuff film for me. I don't like watching it at all. So
yeah, like I watched I'm not a big fan of wrestling, but I watched The Wrestler with
Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, and
the documentary,
and that he's like palming razor blades and stuff, and it's all pretend. But I was like,
that's real.
This is fucking brutal. And then you see clips on the internet of like them throwing guys into piles of tacks, and I'm like, what is the point of this? I saw one a couple of days ago.
Sully did that.
Yeah, there was a guy like he was outside the ring on a folding table, and this guy that had to have weighed 450, 500 pounds jumps off the ring and like body slams him in the table. And I'm like, okay, I assume that guy's dead. Like I assume all these people gathered around and watch this fat guy kill this not as fat guy.
Sully got mad at me actually. Sully got mad at me. I was ribbing him, but 2 shows ago they had an extreme match and they did the whole tax thing. So they put all the tax, you know, showering themselves with tax in the ring, and then, you know, back and forth. It's like, who's going to get slammed through the tax? And my job at the end, I'm supposed to do a run in at the end and congratulate the winner. And so I slide in and I get tacks on my arms and I get tacks on my shoes. I spent the whole time afterwards just pulling tacks out of my shoes afterwards. And after the match, like I was being a heel. I should have probably said, "Hey, are you okay?" But I was like, I said to him, I was like, "Hey, is my ring going to be okay?" I mean, with all the poke holes and the tacks. He's like, "You're talking to me about the stupid ring."
I think I remember seeing. I've
even seen them do it where they. What's that?
I think I remember seeing a video of you getting body slammed by something, and I'm thinking, "Holy shit, this guy's tougher than I thought." I mean, you took a hell of a drubbing there with somebody.
I've taken a few bumps.
Yeah,
I've taken a few bumps. I don't like taking them. I've kind of retired them. There was this one time when we were down here. I used to do this one bump, which we call the Charlie Brown kick. Right. So if you think about Charlie Brown and Lucy.
Yeah.
And so, you know, as a manager, I'm not supposed to be tough. I'm always supposed to be kind of a wuss. And I was a big fan of Andy Kaufman back in the day. So my gimmick, Don Chaco, he's only wrestled in 2 matches ever, like actually wrestled, and both of them were against women. And so I have this thing where basically,
you could be in the Olympics.
We get it so that they're down on like all fours, like waiting, or they're kind of groggy, and then I warm up my foot like I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna punt her in the head, and they always pull up at the last second, and I flip and fall on my back. But I've only done that twice, and I'm not going to do it anymore, because the first time I did it so well that I got back to the back, and they're like, dude, the Charlie Brown kicks, that was sick. It looked so good. You did it so well. And I was like, I'm going to do it even better next time, which is the stupidest thing to say. Because the next time I went and did it, and it wasn't even on TV. It was just like some house show in like Capiata. And I went to go and kick this lady and I overshot it. And I got way too much momentum. So instead of my legs going up and falling on my back, my legs went up too far and I fell on my neck right there, all my weight on my neck. And usually when you're doing a bump, you spread your body out and you're tucking your chin so that your head doesn't snap and hit the boards of the mat. Yeah. Like, because the wrestling ring is not a trampoline. It is just boards with a little tiny thin mat over top of it. So I overshot it. I knocked myself out in the process. Jeez. And somehow I went on autopilot for the whole thing, because basically I was supposed to kick out at 2 after she pins me after this. And I did it. I finished the match, and I have no recollection about the rest of that match and I had to come out for 2 more matches as a manager, including in a Royal Rumble where I was like, a participant. And I barely remembered the rest of the day. And like my wife had to drive us home because it was that bad. And then she didn't even see it because my son, thankfully, like he was like overactive. And so she had to pull him out of the show. And so she didn't see it. Had she seen it, I probably wouldn't be wrestling anymore because it was pretty bad. But it's back to Sully and these tacks. Like they're apparently going to one up themselves at the next show, and I'm not looking forward to it. Apparently I'm going to take a paper cut. But
what's the next one?
You know what I saw? I saw as a parent, I saw the most deadly one there ever. Tacks are bad, but I saw one where they just dumped out a big bag of Lego pieces to slam guys onto Lego pieces. And it's like, no, thank you. That's a big no for me. But yeah, I did a show in Vancouver where Scotty Mack was. I was doing a wrestling show there, and they had an extreme match, and they went through tacks. And I just remember afterwards, like it took like 20 minutes to find and take all these tacks out of the guy's back. And it was just like, I was like, why do you even do this? It's like a 1 second bit, but apparently the crowd loves it. So they just keep doing it. But yeah, so
well,
good stuff.
Should we move to Commie Lovers?
Yeah, that brings me to the one that I've been looking forward to the most on this list, which is Commie Lovers, which is still, I think it's actually gotten worse in the last 7 or 8 years.
Oh my God. Yes.
I'm Canadian. I know all about that.
Yeah.
We're basically run by Commie Lovers.
Well, you're run by a commie, the son of a commie, right? Justin Castro.
Yeah.
Do you believe? I'm curious.
And he's a commie lover too, because
do you believe he's Castro's
he praises
kid?
China all the time?
Yeah.
What's that? Sorry. Yeah, I think he might be. The timing works out. I mean, Margaret Trudeau wrote about it in her book. She called Fidel Castro the sexiest man she ever met.
I'm the only guy she didn't bang, as far as I know. And I was 6
that's
at
the thing.
time.
Like she didn't get all the Rolling Stones. I don't think she slept with Charlie Watts, and she doesn't mention anything about Keith Richards, but the other two. Yeah. No, Commie Lovers.
I think he's definitely Castro's kid, 100%.
I agree.
And
100% agree. Yeah.
I mean, the resemblance is uncanny. The math, if it works out. I'm sure that
yes,
the Trudeau, who was the prime minister that is allegedly his father, is a huge cuck. So I mean, it's just like it all makes perfect sense.
It pencils out. It does.
Well, and like the eulogy he wrote for Fidel Castro, like the way that like Justin Trudeau talked about him as if he was like a father figure and all those kind of things, like it starts to add up, right? Like,
yeah.
Clearly Castro, actually, I think even Castro came to the funeral for his brother, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that sounds right.
You know, there's photos of Fidel Castro, like, you know, giving a hug to Justin, and it looked fatherly. That's, you know, so I think it's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people just keep like falling in love and being more and more enamored with the idea of communism, despite, you know, that it's continually not worked out. We're not learning anything. It's just getting worse and worse and worse, except for Russia, which we don't like now, because even though they were commies, it's like, it doesn't count.
Well, they're not commies, but they are the last bastion of Western values, maybe on the planet, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
There's a family that we're friends with down here who moved out of the United States from near you. Not St. Louis. They were in Kansas. Sorry. They moved to Russia first and then tried living there, but they're Catholic like me, and they could not find any Catholic churches or priests near them, because if there's anything there, it's Orthodox. So, and there was certain, you know, things, it wasn't an easy move for them to go there. The language barrier is pretty high. They did find other expats, but they ended up moving down here. But when they were looking into it, they were like, you know, those like lists of like what countries are the most progressive or woke. And they just picked the one that was lowest on the list, and that was Paraguay. So they came down here, and like there are no commie lovers down here. If there are, they're very few. They're not very well received.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So midlife crises. We talked about Buddy Hackett. He didn't have a midlife crisis. He was comfortable in his own skin.
Yeah.
I don't understand midlife crises. You what?
I've been accused of having a midlife crisis a few times, but I don't think I have. I've just made
for the motorcycle, or
you get a bike, Tab? You get a convertible. Tell me about your convertible.
I had a convertible. I don't have it anymore. But when I bought the convertible, a couple of people were like, "Oh, you have your?" I think I was 28 or 29, and people were like, "You're too young to be having a midlife crisis." I'm like, "It's not a midlife crisis. It's just a cool car, and I can afford it." And I had been my Honda Accord had been rear-ended, and I was like, I decided when I went to go shop for a car, I was like, what have I always wanted? I've always wanted a convertible. Let me go look and see if I can find one. And that one popped up for a reasonable rate, and I was like, this is cool. And so I got that. The motorcycle was one. I got accused for losing all this weight that was in midlife crisis. It's like, no, I just fucking tired of being fat.
There you go. And what was the convertible? I'm curious. What was the model? Make and model?
It was a 2007 Mustang GT.
Nice.
It's a cool car.
Good for you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good for you. And the bike?
That's a fun
you still got the bike?
Yeah, the bike's a 2001 Honda Shadow that I ride basically every single chance that I get, because it's so much better than driving a car, especially in St. Louis. Holy shit, driving a car in St. Louis sucks.
Oh yeah.
But like I can.
How long ago did you leave Oklahoma for Missouri?
Why or when?
When?
Little over 2 years ago.
Good for you. Do you prefer it there, Missouri?
No. I mean, I prefer it over Oklahoma, but it's not the end of the road. St. Louis as a city is kind of a piece of shit. They charge you 1% sales tax rate. The crime is through the roof. You can't go at night without hearing gunshots or fireworks. That's a fun game to sit on your front porch and play at night. Yeah, I mean, it's like a real piece of shit city that is just being held together by their collective pride in the 1904 World's Fair, which was, as you can probably do math, 120 fucking years ago, and everyone who lived here then is now dead, but they won't shut the fuck up about it. It's absolutely infuriating. So I very frequently am just like, anyone who wants to send an ICBM straight at the arch, please do. I don't care if I live here or not, but wipe this city off of God's green earth. It does not deserve to be here anymore. Just a radioactive lake.
If I ever come up and visit you, though, there's a lot to see there. You could show me stuff if I ever came through that way and visited you. And we'd have to go to a Blues game while we're there as well.
Yeah.
If gotta. Yeah,
it's good for like 4 days. 4 days and then just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I mean,
most places are like 4 days unless it's like a resort.
That's true.
I had a friend stop in a couple weeks ago. They were on the way to Vermont and then Maine for like a big family vacation. And so they drove to St. Louis. And then first thing in the morning, I went to the zoo with her and her kids and her dad. And, we've been friends since middle school and, just kind of walked around and hung out. We're wandering around the zoo. And there are no animals visible in any of the pens. And we got like half an hour in, almost 40 minutes into this wander around the zoo. And she turns to me, she goes, "Is this like a prank zoo? There's like no animals here, are there?" And I was like, "You got us. You totally got us. There's not a fucking animal in this place." But we did eventually start to see them coming out. But it was just what a terrible zoo trip.
Wow.
If you want a terrible zoo trip, I'll take you to the Paraguayan zoo. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Shoot, tell me about the zoo in Paraguay. No, go.
Oh man, when we first went to it the very first time, there's certain animals that require other partners or friends of the same species, otherwise they'll lose their minds. Yeah. And I remember the first time I went to the Paraguayan zoo, they had the saddest elephant I've ever seen in my entire life. Like it had like a big bulge on its side. It was like chained to like a peg, and it was, it had like a ball and some food near it and everything like that. And it was just the saddest thing ever. They don't have it anymore, which is kind of a good thing. Yeah. But there was this like weird case back in 2013, about 2013, where there was somebody smuggling tigers through South America. And they got caught, and there's like 12, 14, 16 of them. And so Paraguay, they seized these tigers, and then they gave them to the zoo. And so you go to the zoo, and there's like cool animals from South America. You got like, different not jaguars, but like crocodiles and different types of birds and monkeys. But then like this whole section, it's just literally like Tigerland, and it's just like row upon row of tigers, and you just keep going. And it's like, that's more tigers, more tigers, just too many tigers, and the tigers just going back and forth, and that's it. But the kids like it there. I don't.
What's that?
What's that?
I asked if he was sure he wasn't in South Central Oklahoma, at Joe Exotic's Tigerland.
Joe Exotic, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Back in the COVID days, my family and I traversed the states from LA to the East Coast about 4 times. And we actually liked Oklahoma. I spent a lot of time, Tab, at the Cherokee Trading Post, which I'm sure you know. And in one of these trips, I think it was just over the border from Texas. There was this huge gas station with a double entendre name like Come and Go, and the Come was KUM, right? Mm-hmm. And I stopped there to fill up.
Classy.
Yeah, very classy. And then just a few miles out of there, my wife was driving, and she took the wheel, and I took a picture of something, and I don't remember what the hell it was. It wasn't anything that really would have identified my location, but it was some quirky image. And I put it on Facebook in the car, and about 3 seconds later, you pop up and say, "Are you in fucking Oklahoma?"
Yeah.
Do you recall that?
Yeah.
What? But I liked Oklahoma. I liked Tulsa. It wasn't much on OK City, but I liked Tulsa. I liked a place called Catoosa with a blue whale. And there was a restaurant there that was absolutely kick-ass, had the best pork chop of my life, called Molly's Landing. Mm-hmm. Which I understand burned down since then, which is a shame. But that's all I'm going to say about that.
Press F in the chats, boys.
Yeah.
From Molly's Landing. Oh, man.
Yeah.
You said you traversed the country 4 times during COVID?
We did. Yes.
Man. Okay.
Yeah.
What was your least favorite place along the way?
Well, it was spotty. Talking about, again, to harken back to the commie segment there, you could tell it was palpable moving from state to state, like from California. At the dawn of it, it was, California was mask city, was mandate city, it was fucking quarantine bullshit and lockdown. And then
unless you're
driving
Newsom.
Oh, that scumbag. I hate him so much. And then into Arizona, and it's like, what mask? What COVID? Nothing, And then right at the border of New Mexico was like a 50-foot LED road sign. Mask up. It's the law. And everybody in fucking New Mexico, which is a very commie state, was all wound up and spun up about fucking COVID. And then you get into Texas and nobody gave a shit. And then it was pretty much like that as we took the southern route, mostly 40. But as soon as you hit the eastern seaboard, it was on, man, back with the shit, everywhere from Virginia on north. Yeah.
I flew to Norman, Oklahoma on this past weekend and back, and I was stunned to still see people wearing masks in the airport, and not like one, like dozens.
Yes.
And I was just like, how are you still? I mean, I've seen a couple of people at the gym like show up in masks, and I'm like, you go to the gym, you don't need the mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a political statement more than anything.
They don't even work.
It is. It's
definitely
a political statement.
It's also an identification for morons.
Exactly.
You can definitely tell who the morons are when they're still wearing.
Anyway,
yeah, I was hoping when I got here that they weren't going to be like that, but they were still in the thick of it when we got
Paraguay.
here. So you
really tell me what it was like there.
Or anything like
were there
that.
Lockdowns?
Yeah.
Were there vaccine mandates? What was going on in Paraguay?
They did a full lockdown.
Really?
They did a full lockdown, and they had it where you could only drive your car. It was based off of the last digit of your license plate. So odds had one day, and then the next day was the evens, odds and evens. And they were checkpointing everybody. The Paraguayans, they got a little bit sick of that, and so they actually just came out and protested it, and they dropped it like that. But for a while afterwards,
traffic
they still had all these other.
What did
what did any of it have to do with anything? I mean,
you're really stupid. Me, you're right.
It was
it's Paraguay. None of it makes sense.
Yeah, it was just people being like, "We're doing something. You can't drive your car on odd numbered days. We're doing something."
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. So when we got here, they still had it. Okay, so I only got the COVID test twice, right? I got it once to leave, and once when I got here. The one when I left was the back of the throat, that was fine. When I got here, I got abused by the lady who did the nose test on me. I mean, I still, to this day, do not breathe right out of my left nostril because of the way she poked me. And but when we were disappointed because when I got here, it was like each store had to install a faucet outside. So you had to wash your hands before you could come into the store. And they would have a guy at the front who had those thermometer gun things, and they pointed at you, and you have to go in. And when I was in Canada, I purposely bought the laziest, crappiest mask. Like it was like a fishnet stocking with like giant holes in it, basically. And nobody would give me any hard time in Canada about that. But when I got to Paraguay, occasionally they're like, you need to get a mask. I'm like, this is a mask, and it's covering my face.
Yeah.
And that's it. And so, yeah, that lasted for a little while. And it was interesting so the sports teams did the whole, you need to show proof of vaccination to go to the games like they were doing in Canada. And that pissed me off. But then they announced they were going to ban the unvaccinated from going into any bars, gyms, or hotels. And this is great. All the restaurant owners, all the bar owners, all of them said, if you do that, we're going to shut down until you get it going again. And so they never inflicted that on us. So that was, again, better than Canada. Yeah. So, I could take that because, yeah, we managed to get through the whole thing unvaccinated. They lifted everything eventually. And, so it'll probably come back. I'm sure when when they foist the bird flu onto the world or something like that, I'm sure that there'll be some idiotic measures that'll be done again because nobody learns anything. Everybody's got the 5-second memory of a gnat. Sure. But, one of the things that I do like about here is it's a bribe culture. Oh. So because I don't live in the city anymore, I live an hour and a half out of the major cities. And so out this way, nobody was checking on masks. Like nobody was giving you a hard time about it. And then what the restaurant owners would just do is they would just once a day give like a $10 or $20 bribe to the cops, and the cops would leave them alone. And that was it. Go. So, that's part of the reason I like being here is because there's no proper system in place to actually inflict these things in different parts. So, a $20 bill will get you a long way in Paraguay for sure. So, I can't complain. There's a reason I chose this place. Even if they've done dumb things in the past, I still feel like I'm fine where I am. I'm good friends with the general store owner here and all that kind of stuff like that. So if at need be, if there was any kind of stupidness, I'd just call him up and say, bring it over. He would just bring everything we need. But I don't see that happening. We'll see how it goes.
Good.
Well, Joel or El Chaco, I believe you have an issue this week. You want to jump?
All right. An hour into the show, I'm going to bring in my issue. Here's what I don't get. Stress. What I mean by that actually more is like stress responses. One of the things, so it's been a very stressful week for us with the legal case stuff and all that kind of stuff. And I started thinking about this because like my son was starting to get sick. He's got a bit of a cough and stuff like that. And like, so his cough makes it so it's hard for him to sleep. And it's this weird thing. There's like a lot of backwardsness with stress responses. I get the whole fight or flight thing, but like there's certain stress responses that cause more stress responses that don't make any sense. It's like, you think about it, it's like, where did it come from? Like, let's say somebody gets really scared. They get a gun pointed at their head, right? And they're being robbed. And it's like, okay, a good stress response is like a quick twitch to get the hell out of there, just run, or to punch or do something. But for some people, it's piss their pants. Right? Like it's like how is that at all useful or anything like that? It's like the more I look into it, it's like, so all these problems we have, like, all these people with heart disease and all this stuff. It's like, stress adds more plaque to your arteries. It causes all kinds of things like that. And it's like, what good is that? Like, it's like I get like a stress response to like, don't touch something that's hot, like, cause you'll pull your hand off. But what purpose is there for it's like, I'm so stressed I can't sleep because I'm worried about not functioning properly the next day. So I guess my stress response is I can't sleep. It's like, how does that help me? There's no help there. Is that my body's way of saying you don't need to go to that meeting the next day? I don't know. It's just like this weird thing. Have you guys like ran into weird stress responses that are kind of completely antithetical to improving your situation in any way?
Larry, I'll defer to you on this.
I absolutely have, Joel. And the one that resonated was the first one you mentioned, where there have been times in my life where I had something, very stressful to do in the morning. And then I completely fucked myself by getting wound up on it and not sleeping the night before. So I was less able to deal with that sleep. So yeah, I totally get that. Totally. And it's totally counterproductive.
Yeah.
But why do we do it? I don't know.
That's the thing, right? Like, yeah, it's like, okay, so Tab, you've lost a bunch of weight recently, right? Okay. So the thing is that like, what does stress do? Well, it's been linked to obesity, right? And it's like people, it's like, I'm stressed. My body's not working. It's like, okay, what's the body going to do? I need to go and lose weight. What's it going to do? Put on more weight. Like, what? Why? It's like that doesn't help me in any way. That just makes the matters worse. It's like you go and you try to yeah, you go to try to work out, or you go to try to do something, you're super stressed about it, your heart rate goes up too much, so you're not going to work out as well. It's not going to be as beneficial to you. It's like it's this chicken and egg thing too, because you're like, okay, how do I go like get myself out of the stressful situation if all I'm feeling right now is just constant stress? Or the other thing is like, it's like especially if you're going to do and perform like for a show or something like that, and you've got all this stress on you, and then like, what do? You go out there, and instead of your body kicking in and being like, okay, got to focus, instead it's like you mess up your lines, you start sweating, you start doing all these things that you're not supposed to be doing. So I don't understand. I don't get some of these stress responses. They don't make any sense to me. And it's like, people have to go and self-medicate and do all kinds of things to get it. It's like, so what do? It's like, I'm stressed out. What are you going to do? I'm going to drink. Or I'm stressed out, I'm going to have a cigarette. Or I'm stressed out, I'm going to do this other thing. None of it works, right? And it's like, they always say you got to reduce your stress. And I was like, fucking how, man? Like, life is going on here. I got fires to put out, literal and figurative, So it's like, I don't understand how to get out of that cycle sometimes when the stress is begetting more stress because your body's responding this one way, and you need it to go in the other way. But first, I guess you have to remove the stress before you can get in the right direction. So, anytime you look up these articles on health and all this kind of stuff, they always are telling you, like, it's stress related. So, okay, I get that. But if I live in a society that's going to cause me stress all the time, how am I ever going to get out of that? Right? Like, how am I going to get out of that? And it's like, for example, social media causes a lot of stress for people. And I know I look at social media way too much. I'm on Twitter too much, or X or whatever. I'm always trying to stay on top of the news because I always want to know ahead of time. It's like, do I need to move to Paraguay? Like those kind of like big things. Sure. Like what's you coming down ammo. The pipe? And it's like, it's not doing me any favors. What's that, sorry? What did you say?
He said,
you need more ammo. I mean, that's something you want to know really at the top of every morning, I think.
Yeah. All I got is a shotgun, and I can't use it right now because I got that restraining order against me. So, so yeah, but I mean, Tab, have you kind of run into this? I mean, you're constantly dealing with like work stress and stuff.
Yeah, the one that I really don't get with the stress response is there are folks in my family, and I have friends that deal with stress they like do this stress procrastination, which doesn't alleviate the fact that you have deadline or a thing to do. It just compounds it further on and more, which then like doubles down the problem over and over and over again. And like, you want to logic and reason them out of it, but sometimes you can't with those kinds of things. And it's hard as a friend or as a family member to see someone do that. And like, you want to be helpful and you want to try and, be supportive, but at the same time, like, you want to just kind of grab them and shake them.
Yeah.
And just go like, you're making this problem, you're compounding this problem be way worse than it would be if you just like did the thing.
Well, with the sleep thing, there's been so many times where it's like, how, like, for example, with the court hearing I had with the judge, right? So, my lawyer was telling me, she's like, when you come, keep your answers simple and just don't look stressed. Don't look nervous. And I'm like, I'm in a foreign country and somebody's made a false accusation against me that carries a 6-year felony prison sentence.
Holy shit.
And you just want me to like be cool? like that's your job. You got to do all the talking for me. And you won't let me have a language, like a translator, like an interpreter. Like, what are we doing here? But one rule I have when it comes to sleep is, if my mind is racing about, something that's coming up, some deadline or some problem that we're sorting out or something like that, I'll give myself maybe 10 to 15 minutes tops. But then I have to remind myself that I'm not going to solve the world's problem right now in bed. Like, it's just not going to happen. It's just you just got to give it up, let it go, deal with it in the morning. You'll be better off if you could fall asleep now. And then to get myself to sleep, I just start doing like boring math problems in my head until I'm out. But you can't solve the world's problems in bed. But then what's happening to me now is, I can fall asleep fine. It's just that I wake up early and can't fall back asleep, because then immediately the circus kicks in and solving all the world's problems in my head again. And it's like, okay, I'm up at 4:30 today, I guess. Thanks, stress. So I mean,
so Saturday,
it sounds like I'm bitching. I am going through a lot right now.
Yeah. Saturday, I had to go to a funeral back in Oklahoma. So I had a flight out at flight out was supposed to be at 9:30, and then it got bumped to 10, and then it got bumped to 10:30, and then it got bumped back to 10, and then it was 10:30, and it's like this whole fucking ordeal. So Friday night, I did not sleep well because I was stressed out about getting to Norman. And then Saturday night, so the funeral is at 6:00. I get to my Airbnb at like 11, and set an alarm to wake up at 3:30 so I can get back to the airport by 4, so I can get on my 5:20 a.m. flight back to St. Louis so that I can be back in St. Louis before 7 a.m. and probably back to my house right at 24 hours after I walked out the door on Saturday morning. And because I didn't sleep well Friday night, and because I was so emotionally exhausted from going through this funeral, I passed completely out and slept through 3 alarms that went off at 3:30 in the morning, and ended up missing my flight, thus creating an extremely stressful day of flying to Austin at noon. And then the plane in Austin got delayed by like an hour. And then, so I ended up not getting back. Ended up getting home about 36 hours after I left instead of 24 hours, which kind of completely derailed my whole Sunday plans. And I was just like, if I could have just relaxed on Friday night and slept properly, I probably would have not been just like completely dead to the world on Sunday morning. But yeah, so great example of stress, like not solving the problem, but creating a domino effect of worse ones.
Well, there's a Shark Tank product. We need a perfect sleeping pill, don't we? Somebody has to come up with that.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Where you like chop
and
it,
not just drinking booze
for how many hours you need to sleep.
No. Yeah.
Like, I need to wake up in 4
That would be
hours
awesome, actually. Yeah, it's like you take this for 7 hours of sleep, you take this dose for 7.5 hours. That would sell like hotcakes right there.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah. Kevin O'Leary, get on the phone.
Get on it. Mr. Wonderful. Yeah. Yeah.
Canadian as well.
True.
All right. So that's my issue.
That's your issue.
Cool.
Stress.
Well, that brings us to the middle of our episode, which means it's time for the Irrelevant News Network. Only the most irrelevant news. This is the same news segment we've always had. This is always the way that it is. This is a good one I saw this week. So we all know about the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, right?
Yes.
It's a big hot dog car. Well, apparently there's a mini Wienermobile, which I did not know about. And just a few hundred miles away from where I live, the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, the mini one in Oak Brook, Illinois, got rolled over. Someone cut it off, and the guy overcorrected and rolled the whole Wienermobile, which had to have been the funniest thing to see on your commute to work. Just like the Wienermobile sliding down sideways down the highway. There were no injuries reported, and the Oscar Mayer brand says that it's grateful everybody involved was safe. But a video from the crash shows the Wienermobile was hauled away on a flatbed truck. They had to tow it.
Yeah.
I wonder because it had to have been like an original something.
It's a Mini
modified,
Cooper,
right? Because it's not like Oscar Mayer has
It's a Mini Cooper
who
that
makes
they.
them?
I don't know.
There
Probably
it is.
some custom shop somewhere.
Yeah. Well, a much less famous car logo, and I've seen it here in Connecticut more than once. There is a Planters Peanut Mobile, which is weird looking.
Oh,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Do they grow a lot of peanuts out that way, or?
No, I don't know what the hell it's doing here. No idea. I don't think you can grow a peanut this far north, but I see it around every now and then. Maybe it's just some guy bought it.
I might grow peanuts myself, actually, down here, because I see them sold on the roadside all the time. So somebody's growing them all over the place. I might try to do that. Make our own homegrown peanut butter or something.
Yeah, it worked for Jimmy Carter. So
yeah, I've got a news story here. Another one I'm bringing in for my dad, because he used to try and do this. He told me the story once where he used to they lived by some train tracks in the Virginia Beach area, and he would go throw shit on the rail on the tracks trying to derail trains. And he told me the story. This was I don't know 10 or 12 years ago. He told me the story. We were out driving around, and I said, What was your plan with that? Like, did you want the train to hit your house? Like, what was the plan there? He goes, I don't know.
Spill chemicals.
I like your dad. That's cool.
So a Nebraska teen is accused of derailing a train, recording the crash, and then posting it online. 2 felony counts of criminal mischief for doing so, according to court records. The 17-year-old was charged in Lancaster County in the juvenile court on Wednesday, but prosecutors have filed a motion to have it transferred to an adult court. An investigator with BNSF Railway said in court documents the teenager alerted authorities to the derailment and asked the investigator who arrived what had caused the crash. He's accused of tampering with a rail and causing 2 locomotives and 5 loaded BNSF cars to jump the rails on April 21st. It wasn't clear whether the teen retained an attorney. The rail cars remained upright. One crashed in an empty coal car and caused $350,000 in damages. In the moments leading up to the crash, the conductor tried to make an emergency stop but ran out of time. So he misaligned a switch, and that's what allowed the train to crash.
Wow.
I gotta say, I'm kind of all for it because I hate trains, as I've talked about on this show. In my old apartment that was right next to the railroad tracks, and they just blow their fucking horns all the way up and down Norman. It's just the most annoying thing I've ever heard.
Would your dad be a character?
There's a perfect distance.
I'll text him and find out.
There's like a perfect distance from the train tracks, because I used to live up a hill from a train that would go by, and they would blow the horn a bit, but like the train was so long coming into Calgary because all the stuff coming in from Vancouver on the port would come in on the train, and the train was actually the perfect cure for insomnia for me, because there was never a time where the train would come through and I would hear it that I would be awake by the time it was gone. Because I don't know, just the click of the thing. It worked out perfect for me. But I remember we were taking our dog for puppy training, puppy classes, and it was right next to the tracks in another part of the city. And I remember we were late getting, like, we were on time, but we were made late because of this train going by that took a few minutes. And all I could think was, I'm looking at like these houses that are like literally right next to the damn train tracks. And I'm like, first of all, how do you sell the place ever again or rent it or live there? You're pretty much stuck with the people who have grown accustomed to it, and only them, because you're not going to find a new person that goes, yeah, I'm going to be that guy now who can, live right next to a train and just like try to watch a movie or something like that. It's like impossible.
Yeah.
Unless you like really like Thomas the Tank Engine.
There you go.
You really get some 3D sound whenever you watch that.
I said he didn't have. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I know I said I didn't have an issue coming in, but as Joel, you were telling your stories and then Tab elaborated, I kind of do have one if it's not too late to.
Oh, not at all. We'll finish the news and then we'll jump to you. Right. Yeah. So in my college town,
yes,
my last year living in the town, they rezoned the town to be a no train horn zone.
Good.
But prior to that, the 3 years prior to that, some trains, and they would come through all different times of day at night. And so you get like a train at 3 a.m, and some of them were pretty good. They'd like hit a railway crossing and just be like, burp, burp. And there's a bunch of them all through town, so you'd hear it off and on. But some guys would start like 7 miles outside of town, just be like, and it would just honk all the way through the 15 miles from north of town to south of town, just and you'd hear it coming and you'd hear it going, and you know, you'd be woken up in the middle of the night. We lived in a few blocks away, close enough to hear, but not close enough to hear the horn, but not the clackety clack so much. And yeah, it was infuriating. It was absolutely infuriating. It's like, guy, can you just, if someone's parked on the railroad track, just hit them. Just hit them.
Really? Yes.
If they got the bing bings and the arms coming down, it's fine.
Yeah.
I've got one.
It reminds me because. Okay.
One last news story here. This one is from Lockland, Ohio, and it's a perfect example of why government sucks. A Lockland man is facing charges after he was accused of spray painting around potholes on city streets. Gregory Stroll told officers in April that he spray painted markings near the potholes on 3 different streets because he was tired of waiting on city crews to fill them in. He was charged with a 3rd-degree misdemeanor for criminal mischief. According to Lockland Village Administrator Douglas Waymeyer, the potholes were scheduled to be filled a couple of days after they were marked. We were in the process of switching the public works director and had a turnover within the staff, and the new public works director literally had a plan to start addressing the days that followed the painting. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I remember reading a story, I think it was in Hawaii, where the locals were getting tired of the potholes there, and they actually went ahead and fixed them themselves.
Yeah.
And they fixed them better and cheaper than the municipality did.
Oh,
and
sure.
then the city got mad and went in and dug up what they did and did it their way, and they ended up having potholes again. It's just like here, there's potholes everywhere all the time. You just have to be on guard. But like occasionally the locals will go and fix them by throwing a tire in them or something to like fill it up, or they'll just fill it with like leaves or branches or something like that. So it kind of fills the hole.
There's one on
my potholes.
There's one on my way to work that's about 2 feet wide, 2 feet wide left to right in the width of the road. And in the depth of the road, it's about 1.5 feet. So it's this kind of big oval, and it's about 6 inches deep. And I can straddle it with my car, but on the bike, I have to dodge it. And this week, someone put a cone in it, and I was like, "Oh, that's helpful."
See it, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I hit the mother load of all potholes. This was maybe about 2 months ago. We were coming into Asuncion, so we're turning. I'm taking my son to an appointment. Bang! Just hit this thing, and it instantly blew my tire. Right. And I go and I pull over, and I'm ready to like change my tire. And I get out the hydraulic or the jack. I get out I know where the spare is, everything like that. I realize I don't have a tire iron. Like I don't have anything to take the nuts off. And so I'm like, what am I going to do? And then like, as I'm thinking about what I'm going to do or who I'm going to call, I hear a bang. And it's a giant like truck bringing in like a bunch of like it was like a truck with a big flatbed on the back, and they also ruined their tire. And thankfully they had a tire iron, and the guy came over, and I was like, hey, can you help us out? And can I borrow a tire iron? And he didn't even let me borrow it. He just changed my tire for me and did everything for it. I was like, I tried to give him some money, and he wouldn't take it. And I was like, all right, we're just gonna pray for you tonight. He's like, that's better than payment. Thank you. And I was like, that was the coolest thing ever. But then I know where that pothole is every time I come into the city, and it's still there. And no, they did just recently sort of fix it. You still feel the dip, but it's not nearly as deadly as it was before.
Yeah.
But bastards in the government doesn't like being upstaged. They don't like being,
that's what they're pissed off about. They don't care about the spray
absolutely.
paint. Yeah.
Yes, I believe that was the sort of the genesis of government hating Trump. When I was a kid in New York, in Central Park, there was a skating rink called the Woolman Rink, and it was out of order for 7 fucking years. It's a goddamn skating rink, okay? And Trump was just
here's what I don't get cycle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so Trump was this young billionaire or whatever. And he finally said, I'll fix your fucking skating rink. and I'll pay for it. And he had the thing up and running in like 3 months, perfect. And they never forgave him for that. They hated him because he made them look like the assholes they are.
Yeah, of course. It's nothing never changes.
No.
Well,
good news articles this week.
Yeah, this has been the Irrelevant News Network. This is news that matters to literally nobody. Just like all the other news, it certainly doesn't matter that it's election day. There's been no other big, stock market crashes or any kind. This is only the most irrelevant news that there is. Nothing.
Nothing that scared the shit out of my clients all week. Nothing like that at all.
No. Well, let's jump back into issues. Larry, what is your issue this week?
Actually, before we do that, can we take a quick break so that I'm not? I just need to go take a quick break for a second. Is that okay? Can we take a 3-minute?
Is this a stress reaction? You're going to pee yourself?
Apparently, I see. I know that Here's What I Don't Get lore is all about peeing in things you shouldn't be peeing in. But I think I'm a gentleman, so if we could have just a second, that would be great.
Sure,
I'll be right back.
Actually, I'm gonna go refill my water too. It's a good call. We'll be back. Nailed it. I should go to the restroom.
Right. Kismet.
Take no shit.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, ready?
And
ready.
Yep.
Let's jump back in. So, Larry, what is your issue this week?
So my issue is, Joel, you were talking about, and Tab both, the air travel thing. And like I said, I was in Eastern Europe, and then the flight home to Newark was from Munich, and it was right in the middle of that CrowdStrike fiasco. And so it sat on the tarmac for hours and hours. We didn't know if we were going to be delayed there for like 3 days. It was a shit show. And United, being a really shit airlines, when they came in at Newark, the cabin pressurization was so bad that people were screaming, wincing. And I've been deaf in my left ear since that flight. Oh. So I went to a doctor, and he gave me a prescription for prednisone. And so far it hasn't done anything. Well, the side effects are working really well. I've gained 6 pounds and I can't sleep at night, but my ear's still fucked up. Anyway, so of course, modern medicine, he zips it into CVS on his iPad, and I go over there, and there's this chick at the counter who's very squirrely, and I'm looking at him thinking, are you tweaking? I don't know, but she's very jinky, and she asked me my name, and she's typing it in. Oh, you're not in our system. Da, 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 da. And what's your name again? It's BLEID. And she's like, BLAG? No. BLEI. And what's your date of birth? And your first name, Larry? No, you're not in our system. And I'm like, well, I think I am, because I have 2 texts right here in this cell phone that says my prescription's ready. And she goes away and has a confab with the boss, I guess. Comes back, taps her keyboard again, and goes, are you Lawrence? And I looked at her and I said, do you know anyone named Bob? And she goes, yeah. And I said, well, his real name is Robert. And I still got the blank stare. She didn't know what the hell I meant. And I thought to myself, here's what I don't get. This is not the fucking parts counter at AutoZone. Okay. This is not Dairy Queen. Do you want Fiesta or chocolate sprinkles? This is fucking medications that the wrong ones handed out can kill people. Why are they letting some idiot do this? You know, my buddy's son wound up in an emergency room because they gave him a script for an antibiotic, but by accident it was fucking high blood pressure medication. So he's in there with AFib. You know, I mean, holy shit. Wow. What's going on with the hiring practices with this stuff? This is serious shit. I couldn't believe it.
Oh my goodness.
Someone was telling me recently about, you know, they're allergic to one of the amoxicillin, penicillin.
It was me.
It was
you. Telling you about that.
Yeah. And now
I had
you
a
just
similar
say, like,
thing.
I can't take them at all because they keep giving you the wrong fucking shit.
Yeah. So the I also had an ear infection or something that came about after a flight. Like my ear, you know, when like your ears to pop and they just won't.
Yes. Mine
and
won't.
so
Mine will not
I had
pop.
one that just wouldn't, and like a couple days, and it was just starting to get real bad, like just like pain all day long and just like in my head. So I went to the hospital here to get into see a doctor, and they found me a doctor who spoke English. And I was like, oh, good. All right. That makes it easier. And he's like, hey, you're from Canada. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I was in, you know, I worked for 3 years in Winnipeg. I was like, oh, cool. All right. And he's like, do you know anybody in Winnipeg? I'm like, I do not. And he didn't take that answer because he kept asking me if I knew all these different people in Winnipeg. And I was like, I've never been to Winnipeg, but okay. But then like, I was being very clear. I was like, okay, well, if you're going to give me an antibiotic, I'm deathly allergic to penicillin. And he's like, okay, great. That's fine. And then he gives me this prescription, and I went and I took it, and I immediately broke out in hives. And I was like, I went back and I was like, well, what's going on here? Like, oh, well, it's like a cousin of penicillin. It's like, don't give me a cousin of penicillin. I want a completely different family. Like, we're not doing the penicillin thing. Why risk it? You know, if ever there's one of those things where it's like only one person out of 100 gets it, I'm that guy. So don't give it to me. But like dangerous medications, man. They give people, like, I think there's, in general, you know, they call it Rothschild medicine. You know, it's like this whole idea where just throw a pill at it and it'll be better. Oh, yeah. But it's like, we're not actually solving the problem. We're just alleviating the symptoms. And you're not actually helping the problem. But so what happened after that, Larry?
Well, she, you know, I got the prescription, and it's for, you know, prednisone, this, you know, steroid crap. Yep. And so, let's see, I'm 3 days and 16 pills into it with, like I said, my hearing still sucks, but I've put on a ton of weight and I can't sleep at night. So, and those are predicted side effects.
Yeah. They put me on prednisone when I had a car accident for my back.
Yeah.
And it did nothing.
Nothing.
I didn't even have any side effects. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
And it was. I mean, I've had that. So last year I hurt my ankle, and they put me on tramadol, and that didn't work. And then they put me on hydrocodone, and that worked.
That worked.
Was great.
Yeah.
But the problem was that I couldn't work the next day when I took it. So I was taking it so that I could sleep. But then I would wake up the next morning and I would be like seasick and hungover to the point where I couldn't drive. And so then I was like, okay, well, I'll take it at, because I go to bed at like 11. I was like, I'll take it at 9. And that way, hopefully it'll be worn off by the time I wake up at 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then, you know, wake up and I'd still be seasick. So then the last day I took it at like 6 p.m. to try and not have the side effects the next day. And I woke up with the side effects and missed another day of work. And I was like, I just got to fucking deal with the pain, because I can't keep calling into work and being 4 hours late to work because I'm like essentially hungover from this medication that is supposed to be killing my pain. And, you know, And then they're on the doctor side, they're like, well, you're seeking all these different pain killing medications. Like, yeah, because they don't fucking work. I don't want to be taking them. I would rather be not in pain. But this is the most physical pain I've been in my entire life. And I wake up, and I was like talking to the doctor, and I was like, I wake up in the middle of the night, literally screaming. Like I wake myself up screaming in pain.
Jesus.
I need some way to sleep. You tell me I need to rest to heal. Well, this is the rest to heal. Like it was, oh man, it was an infuriating couple of months.
Dealey18 is asking, what exactly is the name of this issue? Not to sound dumb. What are we going to name this? Is this incompetent druggists?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, really. I mean, you think of how many kinks there are in the line to create disaster. There could be a bad batch at the pharmaceutical thing. There's all kinds of shit. But I mean, the last thing is just somebody who's fucking competent at that counter to saying, hey, I get what your name is, and here's the stuff. You need the right stuff. It's mind blowing. This is not like somebody at a check stand in a supermarket. This shit matters.
You would think that also, wouldn't it be easier these days to everyone's driver's license has a barcode on the back of it? You just like put your little thing in and have it beep and then pop up on their screen your name.
Yeah.
They're kept in little bins alphabetically. Like a monkey really could do it.
You're right.
But I the woman you're describing is so beyond stupid.
Yeah.
That like, oh man. Yeah,
I don't have to deal with that as much here, though. I don't have to deal with that as much here, though, because there's not really a prescription system here anymore. So if you just go to a pharmacy, you just tell them what you want. You don't have to show a piece of paper for like 99% of the things here. Like they don't. It was funny though, because like during COVID, they tried to do that with like ivermectin, and because people were cluing in that ivermectin works.
This is horse medicine for horse medicine, Joe Rogan.
Exactly. Joe, horse paste. Yeah. Actually, it was funny though, because like when we got here, it was like, all right, well, I'm gonna get my hands on some ivermectin. I'm gonna have some around. And so I would just go online and go to the website for the thing, and it would say on there that you needed a prescription. Now, if I went into the store, they would like require me to show a prescription for the antiparasitic ivermectin. But if I ordered it online, like at like 10 o'clock at night or something like that, some dude on a motorcycle would show up.
Wow.
And he would ask it, do I have the thing? And I'm like, no, what do you want to do? And he doesn't want to go back there with this thing and lose out his money. So he's just like, oh, whatever. And so we just got on that for a while, where it was just like real easy to get the ivermectin and all those other things. And I just stopped going in, because when I was living in the city, I was like, why would I even bother? We're just watching a movie. Just have them send me whatever we want. And it worked out great. But like, if I go back to Canada, I know that like, yeah, the prescription system and all this kind of stuff, like getting into it's such a pain in the ass. And I can't believe we haven't made it easier yet. But not like you should. I get, because there's definitely like some prescription meds that like, can absolutely be abused, and you want to have some sort of safeguard, I guess, against people doing that. But like, where can we find that happy medium? Because employing, some person who just got fired from Starbucks to be your druggist at the front, and generally speaking, when you what's that?
Wearing like scrubs or like a lab coat or something too?
No, but they do. She did have on. They put like little. Not exactly scrubs, but it's kind of like not too far off from that tab. Yeah, it was definitely some type of a blue
kind of doc cosplay thing going on.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
That shit annoys me too.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh yeah, nurses wearing scrubs, totally okay. But then you'll go in and it'll be like the lady at the front desk at the doctor's office wearing scrubs. It's like, what are you doing, bitch? You're just making copies. You don't need fucking scrubs.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a medical professional too. Like, you're a fucking secretary. You know how to sharpen pencils and make fucking copies, and you're the only person in this office that knows how to make the fucking copier work. You don't need to be wearing scrubs. You can wear a very nice shirt. And same thing with like the people at Walgreens will be wearing scrubs. Like the people checking you out at Walgreens will be wearing scrubs, and then their little stupid vests. And I'm like, what the fuck are you wearing scrubs for? Put on some regular fucking clothes.
Really? And you think about all those same people at the height of COVID were jabbing people with the fucking vaxes. I mean, that's kind of like, I think you kind of got to go to school for that. And you really got to know what you're doing, how to inject somebody with a fucking hypodermic. But back then, anybody was doing it, weren't they?
Yeah, I was giving them out left and right. I was just giving them in the streets. You want it?
Well, it's the
you
same
got
as
it.
those COVID test people. Like all of a sudden, like everybody was an expert at giving COVID tests and stabbing your brain.
So I was in the stagehand union. We were getting tested all the time, and I just flat out refused to let anyone put their shit in my face. They would like come at you, and I'd be like, "No, I'm swabbing my own nose. I know where my nose stops, and yours, and you don't." And I got a couple of shows pissed off at me about it, but they all ended up just letting me do it. Like,
good for you.
What madness we lived in, man.
I was not going to let someone take one of those big long Q-tips and shove it into my head like they were trying to clean out the barrel of a gun.
Yeah. It's fucking criminal.
Can't believe we went through that, by the way.
I can't believe we let that shit happen.
Wild
really.
stuff.
There should have been rivers of blood in the street, really.
Well, there's still
now people are getting pissed off in Britain, so we'll see how the next reaction goes. You heard that, elites. We on to you.
That's a great issue. I do not look forward to the next time I have to go to a pharmacy for something, for sure.
No.
Hopefully never. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully never. Maybe we'll be never. Yeah.
Well, I've got a quick issue here for this episode 360. Here's what I don't get. Inconsiderate gym goers. I've been going to Planet Fitness, to 360 it again back in the test episodes. Uncle Buck was talking about the lunk alarm and going to Planet Fitness. I've been going to Planet Fitness because it's close to my home and it's on the way home from work, and it's $25 a month, whatever the fuck it costs. And I can go to all the Planet Fitnesses across the country when I'm traveling for dumb shit. And so it's just like, this is convenient. Not a great gym, but it's a gym, and I'm trying to be consistent and do the right thing. But holy shit, do I hate the other people at these gyms. A couple of days ago, I almost lost it because I have a very specific gym routine. I'm doing a push-pull leg system and, basically doing every day. And I have to skip days here and there. But anyway, I have my workout for each day set up to like do a major lift and to build into things and like hit a muscle group early, hit my major muscle group, and then hit that muscle group late. So like on my biceps, I want to hit those twice in a workout, but I don't necessarily need to hit my chest twice in a workout, but I do want to be warmed up by the time I hit that. So I'm at the gym and I have like this sequence of things where I need an incline bench. It's the one that tilts up. And there are like 5 or 6 incline benches and there are 5 or 6 flat benches. I don't know. I don't really fucking count them, but I'm standing there at the fucking thing, and I'm standing off in the corner because every fucking incline bench is taken by people doing shit that is flat. There is one guy who's fucking doing shrugs from the fucking dumbbell rack, walking over, picking them up, doing his shrugs, setting them back down, and then sitting down on the fucking incline bench to take his rest periods between his sets. And I want to just go over there and fucking flying punch him in the back of the head.
Yeah. Because
it's like, hey, I get it. You want to sit between reps. I do it too. I fucking sit and read. I get a half an hour of reading in while I'm at the gym. It's great. I love it. But if I'm not doing an exercise that requires this specific piece of equipment, I try and leave it open for my other fellow gym goers because I'm not a fucking asshole. There's another guy that I think they might have kicked him out. Finally, I think he might have lunked alarm himself out because he was a grunter. He would come in and he would just be like all over the fucking place. And we kept syncing up for a couple weeks and he'd just be like, ugh! Every fucking rep, every single rep needs a shout. Like I don't get me wrong. Like I'll be like hitting number 15. I'll be like, 15. Okay. Finally done with this. It happens. This guy, every single rep needs a fucking karate yell. Like, shut the fuck up, or drop the weight, man, or go the fuck somewhere else.
Yeah.
Come in the middle of the night. It's people not wiping their shit down. I went in today and the Smith machine is like fucking racked with all kinds of weights. And so I'm standing there like, is someone on this, and just like wandered away? I stood there for a couple minutes thinking, surely someone must have just like gone to refill their water. Right. And because the bench is at an incline, there's weights on the thing. And I waited and I looked at the other guys on the thing and I was like, fuck them. I guess this is mine now. I guess I'll unrack your shit so that I can rack my shit. And I want Planet Fitness is the judgment-free zone. I want to open my own gym where it is the only judgment zone. Like where if you have bad form, someone's going to come correct you. If you are being an asshole, someone's going to like throw something at you. Because the other one, this one isn't even inconsiderate people, but it's just like I've seen so many dudes doing lat pull downs, and they have way too much fucking weight on them, and they're doing this thing where they like throw their whole torso backwards until it's almost flat to the ground, and then pulling with their arms to their chest as hard as humanly possible, and then kind of like almost Wile E. Coyote getting slingshot back into the upright position. And I'm like, you are not hitting any fucking muscles in your body. No. Sure, you're lifting 120, 160 pounds, but you are doing absolutely fuck all for your body.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to open the judgment full zone. It's gonna be called Planet Fatness, and we are going to judge the shit out of you when you walk in the door.
Will you hire me? I want to do that job.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
And we'll just have like the big gym bro guys walking around, just being like, nah. That's not the way you do that exercise, my guy. Yeah. I feel like you would.
Out you go.
Yeah. And like they catch you doing it 3 times and they kick you out. I mean, that's the thing. I'm totally open. It's a judgment-free zone. I would love someone walked over to me and was like, hey, your form sucks. You could do this better by doing it this way. There's actually a guy. I finally spoke up the other day because this guy's doing face pulls and he's doing it with one of those little rope things. And he was taller than me. And I was like, hey, man, use 2 rope things. And he's like, what? And I was like, use 2 rope things and do it like this. And so I went and got a second rope thing and put it on there and showed him that by using 2 of them, you can actually like get your arms way wide out and actually hit the muscles you're trying to hit. And he was like, oh, wow, this is way better. I said, yeah, you're too fucking tall for one rope thing. Trust me. I am also too tall for the one. And I was like, I was just trying to be helpful. I wasn't trying to be an asshole. I was trying to like help this guy be his best self. And I think more people could be like that at the gym. And I also feel like when you don't wipe down your bench, someone should, hit you with something.
Yes.
The wiping down the bench thing is the worst. I used to be a member of a gym down here the first time I was around. And this place literally didn't have the spray bottles or any of the towels or any of the paper towels to wipe it down. Like I had to bring my own because nothing was wiped down. It was the grossest thing ever. But I also noticed that you were mostly complaining about male gym goers. We got to talk about the female gym goers that are doing the TikTok videos where they set up the camera. It's always staged. And they're like, look at how many men check me out. I feel so uncomfortable. Where you're basically wearing a bikini. And it's just like, it's ridiculous that they're, I used to be a member of a gym in Calgary, and it was on one side of the gym it was like 2 entrances. One part was women only, and the other part was co-ed. And it was like, I would be more than happy to go to a male only gym. Just like male only gym would be fine. I'd be totally fine with it. The women get their own one. And they would start coming over and using the machines over in the other thing because it was too full on the women's side. And they would come over to the men's side. Drove me crazy. But like here in Paraguay, because of my work schedule, I have a lot of freedom in the day. So I would actually just go to the gym in the middle of the day. And when I would go, it was the gym wasn't empty, but I was like the only dude there that didn't work there. And then the rest of the people, the patrons that were there, were all women who were definitely trophy wives who had a private trainer with them. And it was borderline pornographic. Like, I mean, I knew every single one of them was having an affair with their trainer because of the way that they were training. It was ridiculous. It was like it just showing them how to, get in and close, and you got to, like you got to hold it like this and coming in. It's just like, man, I'm just trying to work out here and not have a show. And that seemed to be always the case. And honestly, like if there was a men's only gym, all for it. I have one. It's my home gym. That's I have the luxury of having a home gym, but like most of the time people don't have that luxury. And I couldn't believe it when I was at that one club. I actually quit the club because of it, because it was just so, all the good equipment was on the women's side. And so we got all the crappy, like not functioning equipment. But if they ran, if there was too many women on that side, they would just come over to our side, take up all the, the ellipticals, take up all the bikes and all this kind of stuff like that. And then on top of it, doing their little fashion show thing. It's like, can you just fucking wear something normal? It's just something normal. Like, I don't even get gym wear for the most part. Like, for the most part, it's like, there's no need for most of the gym wear that's out there other than a fashion show. Yeah. Right. Because the thing is like, just wear shorts and a t-shirt. Who gives a shit? Like, who gives a shit?
I do. Like, I have gym shorts that are specific for the gym, and I have a gym bag that I keep them in. But then, unless I'm doing something very arm heavy, I have some sleeveless shirts that I'll wear at the gym. For the most part, I usually just wear the t-shirt that I got there in, and just change out of my jeans into gym shorts. But these people come in like these fucking elaborate outfits.
Yeah.
And you're like, what are you doing here? Just, are you just here for social media? Another one that I thought of, that this one also drives me nuts, because there's part of my arm workout is I do, I start with 25-pound weights, and then I drop down in increments until I've done 5 sets of 15 of different curls. And so I really need like the whole rack to be there, because I like do 15 with the 25s, and then I do 15 with the 22 and a halves, and then I so on and so forth, makes sense.
Yeah.
But every so often I'll be there, and there'll be a guy or a couple, it's usually a couple, that will have like 3 or 4 sets of the dumbbell weights over there at their bench so that they can like rotate through some exercises. And I'm guilty of this sometimes too, where like I'll have something that I do an exercise that I use a specific weight, and then the one in between is a different weight, and then I come back to it. But it's like, that's 8 minutes. You're talking about like 8 to 10 minutes that this thing is in front of me. These people will like perch up at a bench for 25 minutes, half an hour, just like using all the fucking weights. It's like, man, go swap them out between sets, you son of a bitch.
Yep.
And, like, just
rude. Yeah.
And especially, it's one thing to do that at like 9 o'clock at night when there's fucking nobody there. I don't have a problem with it. All the benches are empty, whatever. Sure. But people, I've been hitting the gym the last couple of weeks. I've been hitting it right after work at like 4:30, between 4:30 and 6:30, which is a big rush time, because I'd rather do it on the way home and then be home or go do other stuff. And versus like coming back to it late at night. And it's just like, it's so bad at that time. And like, if we all just work together, we could get through our shit and we could go home and we could get our gains. But you fucking people we're living in a society.
Yeah. Let's not forget the phone squatters, right? Bad enough the guy decides to park his ass on that incline between sets. How about the guys that just sit there and thumb their fucking phones for 20 minutes? And then I think I'll pick up a dumbbell now. Oh, wait a minute. I got some more texting to do. I want to fucking bounce a dumbbell off their head. Really?
So I use my phone. I do 2 minutes between every set. And so I finish the set, clock, timer, start, open up my book, and I read. And then the timer goes off. I hit stop. I do my next set. But yeah, you'll see these people like just fucking texting. There are signs everywhere in my gym that's like, no cell phone conversations. And yet there'll be someone next to you talking to themselves. It's like, you can't save this for, half an hour from now. I got to hear you.
Right.
Good problem. Good issue.
No,
yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, that's my issue, inconsiderate gym goers. And that is all of our issues for this 360th episode of Here's What I Don't Get.
The full
milestone.
The full rotation. Love it. So we start at 0 again or start at 1 again next week?
There's only one way to find out. But big thanks to Larry Bleidner, thatlarryshow.com. Check it out. 474 episodes. That is
the king.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
The king of all media.
Listen, I got to say, when I saw your email in my Gmail box there, I was like, holy shit, what a cool idea. And this has been so much fun. And I am so honored that you guys picked me. Well, one of you did for the original, the first outing, episode 1, and brought me back for this one. It's a real kick and a real thrill. And thank you both. So nice. I hope you think of me again. This is
great to catch up, brother.
Yeah.
It's been great to catch up.
So much fun. Yeah.
We do have some voicemails. You're welcome to, if you've got to duck out or if you want to hang out, either way, our feelings won't be hurt. But yeah, check out that Larry show. Do you have any other content people should be looking at?
A couple of years ago, somebody contacted me. It was one of those situations. He'd been doing a show with another guy, and they had a falling out. And he said, "Hey, you want to do a fill-in for me?" And now it's been over 2 years, and it's doing very well. And it's called PlanetRage.show.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember seeing that on.
Yeah, so we do one of those every Monday. And they're pretty crazy. They're a lot of fun, and they're it's doing well, and it's a kick, a lot of fun. So
check out Planet Rage. I'm gonna
put a link to
update my my podcast feed tomorrow.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'd love to hear some voicemails with you guys.
Cool. Why don't we wrap up the regular segment?
Yeah. This has been Here's What I Don't Get. I'm Tab Burt.
I'm El Chaco.
And I am Larry Bleidner.
There he is.
Catch you guys next time.
Ciao, ciao.
If you want to call into the Here's What I Don't Get hotline, call us at 704-750-9434 and tell us what you don't get, or you can leave us a voicemail in the Discord. And did I see one of those this week, or am I out of my mind? No, yeah, we have a oh crap. I'm gonna have to play these next week because my Discord is no longer compatible with my soundboard computer because it's an old Mac. So I will download these and put them on the thing for next time. Here's one from the voicemail hotline.
Don't get that popped up here. I'm a manager at a store, so obviously we get complaints from people when something's not right with the order that they placed, whatever. No big deal. We take care of it. Whatever. The problem I have, or the part that I don't get, is when these people put in complaints that are fucking novels, decrying about how hurt they were that this didn't happen, or that they're, whatever. Like I got one the other day, this whole long story about how her family was looking forward to pizza all day long and whatever, and then it turned out they couldn't order the kind of pizza they wanted because we were out of the toppings, and it was a specialty pizza, limited time only. Availability is not guaranteed. That type of thing. And they were so heartbroken, and it ruined their entire day, even though they'd been out on the lake all day or whatever the fuck. I didn't even read all of it. All I'm going to email back is, I'm sorry that your day was ruined. That's nothing I can really do about it. You canceled the order, so there's nothing to refund, and you refuse to have a credit to replace the order when we potentially have toppings, so I can't even do that for you. So I don't understand this whole novel that this Karen wrote about how their kids were upset and they went home hungry, and which I guarantee is absolute bullshit. It's like, just tell me that you were upset a little bit that you weren't able to order the limited time, not always available item, and I can apologize and maybe try to make it right. But I don't need to read War and Peace about how your life is completely ruined because you couldn't get fatter off of some fucking pizza.
It's obviously they're hunting for like free shit.
Yeah,
that's the only reason why. But yeah, people always when they do those complaints, they want to put way more information than you need.
I did one of those. I did one of those sort of things before. Not a novel though. It was in Calgary. The Calgary Flames store is called the Fan Attic or Fan Attic.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to go get my dad a jersey for his birthday. And I get the thing, and this is right after Trump got elected, right? And I go to the front, and the girl that's working there not paying attention. She's chatting up with another person that's working with her, and on the television was not Donald Trump, it was Newt Gingrich, and she thought it was Donald Trump. And she said, I hate Donald Trump so much. I wish somebody would put a bullet in his brain. And the other girl's like, yeah, that guy deserves to die. Somebody should do this. This is in like 2016 and or 2017. And I'm like sitting there and like, I'm like, excuse me, that's not appropriate. Right. Like, I mean, you know, I'm at the point now where I'm not like a huge rah-rah of any of the candidates, but at the same time, it's completely unacceptable that you'd have people having these kind of conversations while you got a customer right there ready to pay. So I wrote the Calgary Flames for this, and I said, hey, you got to get a handle on your employees, man. They're running some serious smack at the front desk. And in the past, if I ever did anything with the Flames or anything like that, they'd usually be like, okay, you know, here, we're going to give you a voucher next time you come to a game or something like that. Like, it's not really what I was going for, but I was just like, you guys got to get a handle on this. This isn't okay. And they're like, thanks for letting us know. That was it. Like, they're yeah, thanks for letting us know. Like, I was like, that's kind of serious. I don't know. It's not like anybody in Calgary is going to go and like, you know, go on a sloped roof or something. But like, you know, it was one of those things where I was like, I didn't write a whole novel. It was just more along the lines of, I was here at this time and this thing, and this is what somebody said. And I don't think it's appropriate I don't think it's a good look for your company to have employees wishing for the death of, I guess, Newt Gingrich, but you know, they meant for Donald Trump.
So I think I figured out how to play this one from the
I saw what you were doing. Yeah, you're smart. There you go.
Tab, it's Jay.
Are you hearing that?
I moved out of the boonies and closer to Tampa, which is better. No shitty neighbors. I'm in a house. There's more to do around here, but I get what you mean about the feeling that you're where you should be, ebbing and flowing. I keep thinking about these flashes of good things from Northern Virginia and even Maryland before that. Restaurants, shows, good times with friends. And I know that that's a highlight reel. I know that those got fewer and further between even before lockdowns, but I still miss them. Here's what I don't get. The push and pull of socialization, knowing you should go out and meet more local folks, but finding it really easy to hate new people. I don't think I have unreasonably high standards, but last week, I was at a casual board games thing, and out of nowhere, one of the guys there goes, "Did you hear about Trump's Project 2025? And I had to stop myself from picking a fight. Can we stick to talking about literally anything else instead of digging up the latest outrage? Please, I know we'll despise each other's take, and we'll get absolutely nothing from the argument. So can we just skip this one? It really made me want to pack up and leave." That was it. Stay furious.
Yeah. Someone posted on Twitter this week so there was a Star Trek convention in Las Vegas, and like every panel, Jerry Ryan, who played 7 of 9 in Voyager, like went on this long fucking Trump rant, which is hilarious because she's kind of just like set this dominoes that got him elected. And then Kate Mulgrew, who played Janeway, went on a big rant, and the person was just like, they really kind of soured the whole event that, you know, we're just here to like talk about Star Trek and enjoy Star Trek. And like, we had to talk about all these politics, and all these fucking people on Reddit, it was on Reddit, it wasn't on Twitter. All these people on Reddit are just like, we are so glad to bully your kind out of our fandom. Wow. And it's just like, you guys are all, you you can't separate it from fucking anything. You can't just like go have a weekend be about a TV show that you like. It's got to be about politics, and like those people are so twisted and broken. I take such great pleasure when I talk to them and they're like, what do you think about this? And I go, I'm not registered to vote.
Yeah. Well, they're ideologues, you know, and politics is their religion. Really, they can't stop themselves.
Yeah, their brains like they can only process stuff through that lens anymore.
Correct. Yeah.
Sad. Yeah. Here's one from the voicemail hotline.
Hey, Tab, I got a quick don't get for you. This is Matt from Minnesota. I always forget to say that first. Whatever. Anyway, I got a don't get. I went and saw Twisters. I walked out of that fucking theater, man. I said, give me a partial refund. You charged me for the full seat. I only used the edge. Holy shit, that movie was awesome, man. You should go see it. Oklahoma represent.
Oh, probably not see it.
You're not going to see Twisters?
No, I didn't like the original.
Nah.
And I hate going to the movies.
I miss Bill Paxton though, don't you?
Yeah, he was pretty great.
He was pretty awesome in almost everything.
I went and saw we went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine. Spent $115 on dinner and drinks in a movie theater. I had a Diet Coke.
Yikes.
Yeah.
How was the movie?
It was fine.
All right.
It was better than I expected.
Yeah. Was it any more?
Yeah, here's another one from the voicemail hotline.
Hey guys, Deadhelm here. Here's what I don't get. Having the air dam on your car if it's lifted. So I have a 2.5-inch lift on my truck because it came with it, and I have a small wiener, and I'm proud of it. But I saw the air dam because I'm really not that high off the ground. But I just drove past the Tahoe that has a 6-inch lift on it. Keep in mind I'm in Texas where everything's bigger, except for where it counts, like, you know, paychecks and, you know, well, it is bigger for taxes. You get fucked over on everything tax-wise. But the point I'm getting at is if you have a 6-inch lift Tahoe with rubber bands on it, you're not concerned about gas miles. Just take the fucking air dam off. It looks fucking ugly in the first place. You have it so it creates, you know, more air distribution so you are more fuel efficient. But if you're lifting your vehicle that much, you don't fucking care about that. So don't fucking do it. Stay serious.
I think we all know whose fault this is, right?
Whose fault is it?
Barack Obama. No, because what it is, I'm sure what it is they put this air dam thing on there to increase fuel efficiency after the 2009 Obama era EPA mandates.
Oh.
And there's been all kinds of stuff like that has turned our cars into total pieces of shit. Sensors in the exhaust that to be able to like hit standards. So many little things changed after 2009 in the way cars are made that has just made them all fucking garbage. Everything's like computerized and sensing things. I have a friend who has a brand new RAV4, and actually a lot of Toyotas have this. The hybrids, they have this like louver system on the front grille that opens and closes depending on the temperature of the engine to sometimes not let air across the radiator because hybrids run colder than traditional engine cars. But that mechanism will just fail, and then the car loses its fucking mind. It is like it becomes completely undrivable because a little motor that moves a flap back and forth stopped working, and then that piece $500. $500.
I haven't owned a vehicle newer than, I think my Mahindra is a 2008. I think that's the newest vehicle I've ever owned in terms of latest date. And I've got a friend down here. When he was looking for a Toyota Land Cruiser, but he wanted to find one from like the late 90s because he just wants to avoid all of that computer crap. Yeah, it's not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse. So you got to take care of those old vehicles because And they still have computers in them. Like, they still have computers in them all the time.
Yeah,
but
unless you
not
go
to
back
the same
to like
degree.
the 80s.
Yeah, you get it back to the 70s and 80s to get something like that, which is probably a good idea. I mean, if you're a prepper, you want to have one of those somewhere out in the barn because, when they figure a way to stop anything with the EMP, that 72 LeSabre will still be going, I think.
My Mahindra it's an India car. It's an India truck. And I actually bought it for the purpose of, because I live in, rural Paraguay, I've got crappy roads everywhere. And the whole purpose of getting it was like, I did the research on it. These things are built for the third world. They're completely built for the third world. If I ever wanted to, make biodiesel or something like that, I could definitely put it into this thing because this thing is a beast. It can handle it all. But the brakes are all fucked on it right now, so I'm not driving it that much. But yeah, like I love it because it doesn't have all the computers. Because India just was like, nope, truck, here you go. And acceleration. Yeah. Well, you're gonna have some patience.
Here's another one from Jay from the Discord.
I'm seeing in the messages there that Joel, ugh. I'm gonna have to go and read it after.
Tried applying for, gentlemen, it's Jay. Here's what I don't get. Unreasonable qualifications. I've been angry at myself about staying in the same job out of inertia for a while. I tried applying for tutoring and teaching positions during lockdown and tried again recently. I signed up for several tutoring companies. I'm never given any clients that match my skills. And I've been repeatedly turned down for teaching positions because they want a published manuscript or one that's under a contract. I'm working on that, but it's really galling that the same departments who don't want me would then turn around and whine about being chronically understaffed and a lack of good candidates when I could teach every single one of those courses in my sleep. It is absolutely wild to me that my experience and the degree in the field doesn't matter. Also, I'm 90% sure that if you go into all apps, show system, and you disable AI core, it will turn off Gemini on a Pixel, at least for now. That was it. Stay furious.
Interesting about the Gemini thing, but yeah, unreasonable qualifications, man. Like that's that whole thing of the whole, you need this much experience to get it, but you can't get it. You can't get the experience to get there in the first place. And so Sully, he teaches English online. He does accent coaching. And he was able to get the qualifications, in a relatively reasonable amount of time. And a lot of people don't know that, some of those qualifications are easy to get. But in our caller's case here, that does sound quite unreasonable with the whole manuscript thing and everything like that. Like, it's just busy work at that point, isn't it?
Sure. It's employers being unwilling to take a risk. Like, they think that by artificially inflating these qualifications that they'll get a better candidate, but you're just like you're cutting off your candidate pool, and you may have someone who's like doesn't have 100%, but would be a way better fit and a way better candidate than someone that has 100% of those qualifications and is a moron.
Well, the caller was Jay. Is that who it was? Okay, I got an idea for Jay. You're going to order yourself some scrubs, okay? You're going to order yourself some scrubs and a lab coat, and then you're going to bring your resume. You're going to fill out an application at CVS, all right? Because clearly the qualifications there aren't that you need to be a pharmacist. There's a job opening right there for you.
I've got a lab coat upstairs. I can send him after I finish with it this weekend. Perfect. Long story.
Probably long.
Here's two more.
Airlines Pizza Company is back in business. I'm so grateful that airline is now able to buy GBT Pizza once more. So glad you guys are still going at it. But that's not why I'm calling you. I'm calling you because you still have not delivered my order. It's been over a year since I last placed the order, and I have not. Listen here. Whoever is the owner of this establishment, unless I get my pizza, I'm gonna sue you. I'm gonna sue you. I'm gonna sue your family. I'm gonna sue your friends and any future romantic partners, kids, that you get along the way. Oh, don't worry about me. I'm done finding household leftovers. If you want to take this to court, my address is...
Well,
oh,
in case he's still not going to get his pizza.
Wow.
This one's a little long. We'll see how it goes. We might bail out.
I got another don't get for you. People who can't manage their time, or maybe it's more people who think that they're smarter than you are regarding how long things should take. For example, my assistant, like, basically, as you've said, he's my raker to Picard or what have you, essentially, in position, if not in temperament, I suppose. But he has to go pick up his brother, who also works at our place, every once in a while. Well, he's my raker's at work, and his brother's at home. So I say, no big deal. And he's usually gone for like 25, 30 minutes, which is shitty, but I'm like, whatever. I don't know where he lives. I have an address, but I didn't grow up in this town, so I don't necessarily know how long it takes to get places, and maybe he has to, do something, whatever. But the other day, I had the idea, well, let's go see. So I drove to the address. It's 4 minutes away from the store.
Oh, no.
So I don't know what the hell he's doing, taking 30, 40, 50 minutes to go pick up his brother when it's a literal 4-minute drive from the store. Meanwhile, I am running errands while technically on the clock, sure, but that's my prerogative as the store general manager. But I have now stopped at 3 separate places, paid 2 bills, and picked up some stuff that we needed for the store in the span of, at this point, 30 minutes. And as long as I don't hit a fucking train between here and the store, I'm going to be back at the store in 5 to 6. So 35 minutes, I've literally been all over town, paid bills, and picked up things at a store in as much or less time than he takes to drive 5 minutes over to fucking pick up his brother. Like, I'm making a note of this now, and next time we have a meeting, I'm gonna, basically tell him, what the fuck? But it's like, dude, either manage your time better, or stop trying to think that you're more clever than I am. I don't know. At this point, I don't know which it is, because he is legitimately the type of person who it would take 30 minutes to go pick up somebody who's at the house because they're probably not ready to fucking be picked up yet because he hasn't actually told them he's on his way. But, whatever. You're not as clever as you think you are. Definitely so if you're not able to actually, organize picking somebody up in a 5-minute drive.
Yeah, that's, I feel like you're getting scammed, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's either guys visiting somebody or something.
Or he's off taking a dump or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Sure.
Okay. I could forgive that one,
Yeah, but that's unacceptable. I mean, if it happens again, right? Then, but did he say in the call? I might have missed it. This has happened frequently or just this one time?
Yeah, and he says it happens pretty frequently. It goes and does this pickup, and
this guy's either looking for a new job or he's pulling something else out. That's not okay.
Yeah,
give him the gears.
Well, that's our voicemail segment, and that's our show. So keep the voicemails coming in. We'll make it another 360, hopefully.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
We'll see.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. Yeah, we'll do the 720 episode,
again.
Larry.
Thank you, Larry. See you next time.
Gents.
Thanks again, Larry.
Always
a pleasure. Thanks for everybody for showing up.
You betcha. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.